I think the development of full artificial intelligence will spell the end of the human race.
It's a flying object, and we don't know what it is. I would hope somebody is checking it out.
It was a rocket or whatever, but incredibly fast, opposite direction. It was too fast to be an airplane.
I'm glad the Pentagon is looking at this, because if it poses a threat, I want them on top of it.
Well, the craft generates its own gravitational field.
So you said there's lights in the sky?
The internet has become the command center for criminals and terrorists.
911, what's your emergency? I need help, please help me!
Aliens won't let it happen. You know, that's what we're instructed to say.
Roswell, Area 51. Alien kept deep under the ground.
1 0 1 1 0 1 1 6 3 2 9
Media doesn't have your best interest in mind. The government is self-serving. You're here for a reason. You're listening to Troubled Minds Radio. Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness. Good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange. And I'm here with your co-host, Ash, the reptilian from Mars. What's up, Ash? How you doing, buddy? Yeah, woo! And we'd like to say hello to all of you who might also have troubled minds. I cut on your part there. I'm so used to introducing, the co-host that way. Okay, so anyway, here we are tonight. It is Friday night. It is Valentine's Day. So if you don't have love, we love you. We have love for you. We'll spread the love around. That's what tonight's about. Actually, that's not what tonight's about. I'm lying to you. You know what tonight's about? Tonight's like many other nights. This show is about aliens. This show is about conspiracy. This show is about the paranormal. This show is about the 24-hour news cycle and everything in between. And that's what's on the docket tonight. All kinds of good stuff to talk about. The news cycle is overflowing. And guess what? Fox News and CNN have the same 5 stories over and over and over again. And there's so much amazing shit to talk about. So if you're new to the show, that's what we do here. Those are the types of things we do. Those are the things we like to talk about. And we like to stretch reality just a little bit. Because, the propaganda news cycle likes to put our reality in a box. And we don't like that. Do we, Ash? You don't like that at all. Matter of fact, let's just get right to that. So the show's live. We'll do the phone numbers and whatnot in a sec. Let's get to the most important thing. Ladies and gentlemen, your co-host, Ash the Reptilian. Yeah, that's you, buddy. That's your cue. Okay, I guess we got to Ash the Reptilian. I don't know what the hell just happened there. All right, well, there's a little bit of what the hell's going on. You there, buddy? I can't hear you. If you're there, I can't hear you. Did he get kicked out of the Discord? That would be fucking hilarious. Yeah, all right, fantastic. You missed your cue, man. Well, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, your co-host, Ash the Reptilian. I was literally playing the music. All right. Anyway, yeah. That was straight clusterfuck. Okay, here we go. We're going to do this again. Ladies and gentlemen, your co-host, Ash the Reptilian from Mars. There we go. Now I'm not muted. I got to mute so we don't get echo. Yeah, we're talking about aliens. There you go. Excuse the technical difficulties. We're trying to work through all the audio hoops that we have to jump through to make this right. So anyway, yeah, we're talking about aliens tonight. That's the topic tonight. And so what we're doing is Project Serpo. If you guys have heard of that, so we're going to do that, and it's interesting. It's Zeta Reticuli. It kind of weaves in with some Roswell and some Bob Lazar and some other stuff. Richard Doty. Some of these names that kind of keep popping up in the UFO field, UFOology, UFO mythology, whatever it is, right? Like these are the types of things that keep popping up, and that's what we're talking about tonight. So that's what's on deck. We'll do some news per usual. There's some terrifying news per usual. And if you're looking at the stream tonight, the sun you're seeing that we're actually orbiting, I figured we were going to talk about Zeta Reticuli tonight. And so I figured we'd go there. So I fired up the universe simulator, and that's the star you're looking at. If you're looking at the stream, Zeta Reticuli. And so that right there has got some planets. You'll see them orbit, but there we go. So we're there. Hope the ambiance is high. And if we don't have candlelight, we've got Zeta Reticuli sunlight to light our spirits. Okay, so anyway, that's what's on deck, and don't forget this show's live. So if you want to be part of the show tonight, then the phone number should be back up, 702-957-1037. You can call in, you can be part of the show, you can join Discord and be part of the show that way as well. So you can old school dial the numbers or join Discord by going to troubleminds.org. That's the official website, and then you can get on here and you can talk to Ash and Mike and everybody else. So there we go. I think that sums us up. That gets us there and lines us up for shout-outs. Yeah, let's do this. I'm going to start on YouTube. Cedric gets first. What's up, buddy? Thanks for showing up. We got Noble Cal L showing up on Mixer. Consistent. Thanks for being here and hosting us, as always. We appreciate that, my man. We got Tony gets first on Facebook. We got Todd from Danville, Kentucky. How you doing, buddy? We got Paul from Texas. Steven, I'll hang out for a little bit. We're honored. Thanks, buddy. Elizabeth, what's up? Hi from Oregon. Good to see you. Good to see you as well. Thank you. Let's see. Tony says, so it's Valentine's Day. Don't forget tomorrow is Side Chick Day. Jeez. Dirty. That's funny, not funny. Tamron, what's up? Good morning. How you doing? Joe, ready for abduction. Let's see. Todd says the first time my wife has listened. Well, tell her to forget that last remark. We're just kidding. That was a bad joke. That was a really bad joke. Okay, Paul. Perfect timing. What's up, Paul? What's up, Joe? Good evening, blessings. How you doing? Yeah, Frank's a long story. Old news is Frank. I don't know if anybody knows where Frank is. Let us know. We're still looking. John. Yeah. You hate him. There we go. He's been abducted. Let's see. Benjamin, what's up? Benjamin from Mars. How you doing, my man? Good to see you. Hey, if you got updates or hope everything's well, you know what to do. You can call us anytime. You know what to do. Elijah, thanks for showing up. The truth is out there. Philip from Oregon. How you doing, buddy? Stephanie. Oh, this is going to be good. Hopefully this is going to be good. We didn't start out very well, but hey, it doesn't really matter, right? It doesn't really matter. Exactly. Totally. Luke, what's up? Good evening from South Carolina. Let's see. Benjamin says, you guys hear about the fast radio burst that's being sent in rotation? You're damn right. We're going to lead off with that tonight. We're going to talk about that tonight. Nate, hi from Wisconsin. Thanks for being here. And let's see. And Tony says, I was only kidding, by the way. Of course, we know it was a joke. You got to read the jokes, right? That's what chat's for, is for the jokes. But again, if you want to be on the show, we are live, 702-957-1037. Join the Discord. Go to troubleminds.org. There you go. That catches us up. That catches it all up. So let's do some damn news. What are we doing tonight? Let's start with the fast radio bursts. What the hell is this? This is the NewYorkPost.com. I'll let you take this, Ash, and then we got a video to play on YouTube regarding this. But what the hell is this? You got the New York Post one? Go ahead and read that. Y- yeah. Hey Ash, hold on. We got something going on. You're not broadcasting here. I don't know what the hell's going on. You are not muted. We got problems. Thanks, Tamara, for pointing that out. You said Ash is not. Say something again. I hear you fine. You're not going out to the. Speak. Keep talking. Keep talking. Wow. Holy crap. Holy, that was really good. Like that was a really fantastic delivery there until it wasn't delivering. So. All right. All right.
I hear
all right.
myself, so they probably hear me.
That's good. All right. Yeah. Excuse the technical issues, guys. We're trying to get this dialed in perfectly with everything to work. We did, yeah. We did, yeah. All right. Let's see. Are we in? Are we in? Hold on. No, I don't think you're in yet. Holy shit, people. Sorry. No, hold on. I don't know what the hell's going on here. We're going to figure this out, though. I'll just smash some buttons until some things happen. Let's see. There's a Discord one. Broadcast
one,
that. All right.
two.
Say something? No,
Testing.
nothing.
Oh, no.
Nothing.
I see people say, there you go.
There you go. They can hear Ash. Oh,
hey,
shit.
guys. How you doing?
Oh, shit. Let's see. All right.
Yeah, they hear
Say
me.
something again. They hear you? All right.
Testing 1, 2.
What's up? All right. We're
I
good.
just hear myself.
Well, that's what I mean. We got a problem
Oh,
with
no.
that.
I'm gone again.
Are you gone again? What the hell's
That's
going on?
what they're
here?
saying.
I'm telling you, there's some sort of memory leak going on. Remember? I said pray for no memory leak. I think that's what we got. That's what's happening right now. Okay, so all right. So let's. What are we gonna do? Should we restart this bitch, or I think we have to, right? We have to. Yeah.
I mean,
I think we have to.
people are saying they hear me. Ash, use your alien powers. Hey guys, how you guys doing?
Okay, so we.
Hey
can't
guys,
hear
I
Ash.
only have death rays and like physical abduction, like sexual stuff. That's all I have. That's all I have on the ship. Sorry.
That's it. Like the probes. That's all we got. Okay. Let's see.
Just lots of probes and death rays.
I'd love to see the alien probe collection someday. Okay, so let me see
Pretty
here.
extensive.
Let me see. Extensive, he says. All right. So
Okay, they can hear me. I can hear myself, which is fine. I can just take my headphones off.
Okay, hold on.
So they hear me now.
Now we can hear. They say they can. Okay, anyway, go ahead. Go with the fast radio burst. It's not saying that it's broadcasting on OBS here, which drives me insane because it should be. So I don't know what's going on. But anyway, all right. I'll try and fix your echo there. Go ahead.
All right,
let me know if you can hear Ash.
All right. So I'm going to take my headphones off a little bit.
There we go.
So yeah, okay. So you guys have seen this story. I'm sure you all have. I don't know if we get pegged, because we like alien stuff and you're like, oh, these guys will like it. But it seems like all the outlets are picking this up. Why is that? Is that because people are interested in the subject? Is there an agenda? Are they pushing towards something, right? Are they getting us ready? So if you were going to get people ready for aliens, this would be the perfect kind of precursor, right? So let's get into it. So a Harvard professor says deep space signal may be from an alien civilization. So earlier this month, Canadian researchers announced they discovered a powerful radio signal emanating from a distant galaxy in bursts of every 16 days. So the chairman of Harvard University's astronomy department told Futurism this week that he thinks one possibility is that the signals are coming from an alien civilization. Ooh, that's pretty exciting. This could be like historic or nothing. Usually
or nothing again.
Like,
or nothing. Or nothing. Yeah. Okay. So So we got a video to play in this, and this is crazy, right? So the thing with these fast radio bursts is they've been we've seen them, but they haven't been known to repeat, only very rarely, 10 times ever. And this is the first time we've ever had a fast radio burst that repeats on a particular interval, and it's every 16 days and like an hour or something, like 16 days and 1 hour or something like that, right? So, but they can actually predict this thing, and so it's coming from 500 million light years away, and this is what it's all about. So let's watch this for a sec. This is a guy, again, we've talked about this guy before on the show here. His name is what's his name? His name is Anton, and he does he's like an actual astronomer, and he talks about this stuff. You can check out his channel. You can What the Math, amazing stuff. I'm going to link it per usual, and I'll link the articles we're talking about per usual. They'll be in the links as we go in chat, and they'll also be at the bottom of YouTube and on the webpage eventually. So there you go. I always encourage you to follow up on us so you know what we're talking about and where we got it from, right? We're not just making this shit up. Okay, but let's hear what Anton has to say about this. And sorry, Ash, this may echo and suck. Let's find out. Action.
FRBs or fast radio bursts, they are literally what they sound like. They're very fast, and they're sort of like a burst of radio energy that can only be seen in certain frequencies. And for the most part, they're really, really fast. They only last for like a few milliseconds, so it would be almost impossible to catch them with a typical handheld radio. You would have to use a very specialized radio telescope in order to record the actual bursts happening in real time, which is why it took us so long to actually detect them for the first time ever. The technology wasn't there yet. Now, we don't really know what causes them, and for most of them, we don't even know where they came from, but in most cases, really, really far away. We're talking about distances of billions of light years. And also, they all seem to be somewhat different. Some of them are really short, some of them are a little bit longer, some of them are louder than others, and some of them are repeatable and have been seen more than once from the same location. Although up to now, none of them had any patterns. And when it comes to trying to explain what's causing them, well, there are a few ideas. One of them is, of course, some sort of interaction with a pulsar or a neutron star that's causing some sort of a very unusual effect that we're seeing from a distance. Some scientists have even suggested that maybe it's related to some sort of a collision between two stars, and instead of a supernova, it produces a fast radio burst and could potentially explain what we're seeing. Simply because
Okay, I think that pretty much sums it up well, probably better than we could do. But again, the guy's name's Anton. Fantastic. I did link it in the chat there, did I? Yeah, I got some more shout outs we'll get to you guys. I see you there. Here we go. Here's the link. Do check it out. This guy's got a fantastic channel if you're into space stuff and astronomy and the rest of this. He's always on top of the latest stuff. So if you see something in the news and you see a headline, go check his channel, because odds are in a day or two, he'll have something up talking about it from an actual astronomer's perspective. So it's really good stuff. So notice he had a couple options there on this repeating fast radio burst, and says that, it could be two planets colliding. It could be some sort of neutron star thing going on. There's all kinds of options this could be that we could explain this, but the exact interval of the 16 days and an hour or whatever it was is a little bit odd, don't you think? A little bit odd there, Ash? Can we still hear you? Testing 1 2, buddy.
Yeah, no, definitely. And then you kind of like, if you explore the alien option is the one that everyone wants, right? That's the fun one. That's what we're all hoping for. But I'm reading here that it would take more energy than the sun to emit these signals. So if there was some civilization emitting these signals, it would require tremendous amounts of power, like unimaginable amounts, which is possible, right? If an advanced civilization, but improbable. So fun story, but I don't know. We'll keep an eye on it, I guess, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, so a Type 1 civilization would be able to harness the power of the entire planet you live on, and then a Type 2 would be able to harness the power of the solar system that they live in. So in terms of that scale, the step is not that large to really gain that much power. You could really point it in a particular direction. So of course, the alien angle, the alien theory there is maybe somebody's aiming this thing at us. They know we're here, and they're trying to get our attention. So of course, we have the time distance thing, the 500 million light years. That's a problem, right? That's a long ass time, but it is a repeating thing, and so we'll keep an eye on this and look at some hopefully reputable sources and maybe get to the bottom of this, as maybe science does, or maybe science doesn't. All right, I got a couple more shout outs. What's up, Larry? I see you there, buddy. Thanks, Dan. Thanks for showing up, Dan from SoCal. What's good? You know what's good, man. You already know what's good. What else? Who are we missing? Did I miss anybody? Did I miss anybody? Juan, and I missed one? I think I missed Juan. No, I think we're good. Okay. Everybody's good. What's up, Larry? Thanks for showing up. And Christopher, happy Valentine's Day. All right, there we go. I'm up to speed, I think. Okay, so apologize for the technical miscues. That's what happens when you go live, guys. That's what happens. That's why not everybody can do it, to be perfectly honest. Right? You go listen to these other podcast jokers. None of these guys can go live because shit like this happens, right? And they look like clowns. But anyway, so all right. So anything else on this, Ash, about the alien business, this fast radio burst, 16-hour intervals? I don't know. Aliens, not aliens. I guess that's what everybody wants to know, right?
Yeah, I mean, I just thought it was fascinating that there's so much coverage of this, right? And it popped up like 10, 12, 13 times from one article or someone reposting it or sending it to me or whatever. So it's interesting, and it's good that people are hungry, right? People want to know, and it's like I think most people want to know, but they're just like scared of the ridicule of talking about this subject. So this kind of like takes a step forward toward some sort of disclosure or some sort of having like normal conversations about it. But we'll keep tabs on this, and we'll see if this goes anywhere, right?
There you go. As always, we'll keep an eye on this. We are keeping our eye on the coronavirus. We've talked about that quite a bit, so we're not going to talk about it tonight. Actually, just kidding, we are. Let's go to the coronavirus. Let's go to this next one. Real quick, since we've talked about this literally every show since this thing hit, and we did a whole show on this, so if you guys are interested, here you go. I'm dropping some links real quick. This is from Yahoo. Now, Yahoo! Remember that old commercial? Okay, Yahoo's no longer relevant, really, in the big scheme of things. They're kind of a company dying on the vine until they figure some shit out. But check this out. There are two different reports here from Yahoo. So we got finance.yahoo.com, right, from their finance section. And it says the coronavirus, so Novavax exec says making a coronavirus vaccine could take a long time. It says an executive for a pharmaceutical company, okay? So he says it could take years, right? So let's see. Yeah, right? Years. So the crisis has not yet reached pandemic proportions, but is making an uncertain global economy even more jittery, et cetera, so on. We all know this. But you're giving a product to healthy people, he says. So you have to show it's safe and have to show it's effective, efficacious, whatever that word is. I don't know what that word is. Okay, so then it says this week, Novavax saw its shares skyrocket nearly 60% on the back of the coronavirus fears as investors bet on companies that could help treat or cure the virus, right? A disease. So you have an actual pharmaceutical executive. This is reported January 24th, 2020, right? So it's not that long ago, about 3 weeks. And he's saying that it literally could take years to develop this, right? All right, so there's one. And I'm going to just talk about this real fast because we talked about coronavirus too much. And we got tons of news to get to, tons of stuff tonight. So there's one, right? One executive for a pharmaceutical company says, well, it is going to take years probably. Now, check this out. I got the next one. Also reported by Finance, the version of Yahoo. And here's the headline. California lab says it discovered coronavirus vaccine in 3 hours. Yeah, right? Yeah. Okay. So, and this was reported February 13th. This was yesterday. So, okay. So explain to me how from January 24th, we have an executive, big pharma, right? And wink, wink, saying that this could take years, and their stock's jumping because they think that these might be the guys that can do it, right? Novavax, that's the company here, right? But then we have this other guy, California lab says it discovered a coronavirus vaccine in 3 hours. Check this shit out. Quote, we have an algorithm which we designed and we put the DNA sequence into our algorithm and came up with the vaccine in that short amount of time. Inovio's research and development director, Dr. Trevor Smith, told KVUE. Yeah. So this is the type of shit that spawns conspiracy theories. I can't say it. Conspiracy theories, right? So one guy, his stock's popping. His company's they're like, oh, well, they're going to fix this. They're going to save the world, right? So their stock is going up like crazy. But then we have the next guy from a different company that says, oh, yeah, as soon as we got the DNA sequence from China, bam, we uploaded it to our algorithm, and 3 hours later, we had the vaccine. So what's going on here? What's really happening? What do you think the deal is here, Ash? What the hell is this?
This story gets stranger and stranger the more you learn about it and the more details you get, and also scarier, right? And it's like, it just seems like whatever is going on, we're not being told, right? And based on this, like big pharma trying to make a buck, During our climate change episode, we talked about how the UN was running out of money, right? So a lot of these people running out of money in these organizations, are like basically parasitic on the citizens, on us, the people, and they have slush funds and all this kind of stuff everywhere. And so is this another cash grab? This would be a really good cash grab, right? You release a virus and then you kind of hold the world hostage in a sense where do you want to spend billions of dollars dealing with this thing, or you want to give us, a couple billion to solve this problem for you? So who knows, man? Who knows what the origin of it and what, but you can see who's making the money off of it.
Yeah, well, exactly. And so you can't have two completely differing reports like this where they're literally the same type of corporations, and one saying, no, guys, this could take years for us to get this thing to market, right? And then the other guy's like, bam, 3 hours, we're racing to get this thing patented and on the road, like to start carrying people here. This is crazy. I don't know. Like I saw the one, like actually my wife linked me the one where it said the California lab discovered in 3 hours. I was like, holy shit, that's incredibly fast. And then I start poking around Yahoo a little bit more. I don't know why, like, because I'm an idiot, right? Like, who wants to spend any time there? But then I find this other article, and I'm like, what the hell? Really? Like, we're really talking years or 3 hours, right? So of course, discovering the vaccine in 3 hours is different than getting it to market, right? Because there's tons of scale and other things that needs to happen. But you see the point, right? One guy's like, oh, our stock's popping, time to milk this. And the other guy's like, no, we're going to beat the other dude, right? So hopefully we got some competition here. We got some good comments. What's up, Eddie? Thanks for showing up. We got Ryan. Thanks for being here tonight. John, I'm back. Welcome back. Keith, how you doing, buddy? And let's see. Okay. So then, the thing is, so Ryan says the plan is to make a mandatory vax, charge $100K. There you go. Eliminate the lower middle class. There you go. Right. So then, just like Ash said, I think there's no better way to hold the world hostage is with their health. Right. If you don't pay up, if you can't mortgage the rest of your working life for $100K vaccine, there you go. That's a good one, Ryan. I don't know, like that's sinister, right? Is that sinister? But the thing that drives me nuts is, which is it? Is it, oh, this will take years, or this other joker's like, oh, we got it cranked out in 3 hours? And Benjamin saying it's because the virus is man-made in a weapons lab. So comment says if a virus is created, a cure is created first. So you see what's going on here? Like, and they wonder why we're suspicious as hell. Of all the things, of all the news cycle, of all the reports, what's really happening, right? So there we go. That concludes the coronavirus for tonight. But really, years or 3 hours?
Right. Well, that's like you hear the, I don't know, so many times over the last like 10 years, I've read articles or seen stuff about, oh, this place cures cancer, moving into trials or whatever. Where are all those cures? And they suppress them because they don't make money. If you cure your customer, you can't like keep billing them. So they're only going to have solutions where they kind of can milk you. That's why like the pharmaceutical, it's just the root of it's kind of evil, right? It's like if you take care of people, that's your product. Then your customer is sick people and sick people with money, right? So it's a little messed up. Yeah, who knows, man? And there's some sociopaths at the top of those.
Yeah,
those ladders, right?
No. That's being kind. Straight psychopaths. That they're gone past the socio. So that's the problem, right? That's what we say all the time, right? Like when you become the top of the food chain, like billionaire style, and you're running these types of companies, you're not a normal person anymore. Like people are commodities to you, right? And so you're like, okay, well, how can we actually maybe kill a couple thousand here to boost our stock price, 30%. Like those are the types of situations. That stuff goes on in these boardrooms. They talk about this stuff. They've come out and said it that, we can't just outright cure things because it's not profitable. They've said these things, right? Like these quotes have come out. So, I mean, people smack their forehead and go, you conspiracy theorists are idiots, right? I like to call it fringe analysis. But because it's a good name. No, I like
right? that.
You like that? All right, I like that too. But the thing is, what do you do? Who do you believe? We can't believe any of these people, and that's the problem.
Right.
That's the thing that drives me nuts the most. So anyway, like I said, what's true? Is it years?
You have whistleblowers.
Go ahead.
At these boardroom meetings, I've heard some crazy whistleblower boardroom meeting people, and that's the only way you're going to really get that information. So if you write all those people off, then you're never going to know, right? I guess the only person who's going to know is the NSA.
Yeah, exactly. Kelly says some they had the vaccine after they made the virus. They have all the patents for these viruses. Todd says it's propaganda. Do you know anyone who has coronavirus? I'll wait. So you're saying that it's all fake news, that nobody has it? I encourage you to go to the Epic Times, EPOCH, and the Epic Times, and check out some of the articles on what's being reported from China. Like people dying to get information out because they're being beat down and thrown in lines and left to die because they can't treat them in hospitals. So anyway, like if you think it's propaganda, fine. You think it's fear? I get it. I understand. What's up, Joe? Thanks for showing up. What's up, Todd? Thanks for being here. Let's see. See. Joe says, my neighbor's auto supplier is stuck on that ship in Japan, but not sick. So, okay. All right. What's up, Bailey? Thanks for showing up. How you doing? Thanks for being here tonight. Juan Carlos, how you doing? Thanks for sharing. Spread the word. We got a call coming in. We'll take this in just a sec. But here's the thing, right? This is the deal. What do we believe? One pharmaceutical company says it's going to take years. Another one says we just crank this shit out in 3 hours. You know what I'm saying? It's just crazy. Well, all right.
I want to say one thing before we move on from the coronavirus.
Do it.
I read an article just today, that the military's prepping for when it comes here, and basically, if you read between the lines, it is here. And with the dormancy the way it is, we are going to get like a mini explosion at the very least. So just like I said in the past shows, go out, get some jugs of water, get some rice, right, and just be prepared. Like it's better to be over prepared than under prepared, and you're gonna sleep sound at night. Because let's say you just want to stay in the house for a week. Everyone's just gonna stay home for a week. Screw it, I'm gonna be safe. You want to be prepared for those situations and for anything else that could happen, right?
Yeah, it's always a healthy habit, I think, in my opinion. So it's I don't know. We don't have answers here. Of course, the propaganda machine is in full effect, but I think what's happening, in my opinion, is they're trying to downplay it, and that's frightening because every other thing they try and pump up. But if you notice, the mainstream's kind of a tiptoeing around it. They're dancing around it. They're not really talking about the terrible things happening in China. Go to the Epic Times, EPOCH Times, and you'll see what I mean. And there's tons of terrible stuff happens. Anyway, let's take this phone call, and then we'll keep on rolling. We'll do more on the coronavirus in the coming days here. Coming shows, but that's it for now. If you guys have phone calls, 702-957-1037, do call. Open phone lines, everything's working again, I think. Let's go to this call and find out. Good evening, you're on Troubled Minds with Mike and Ash. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
My name is John. I'm calling from Odessa, Texas.
John from Texas, how are you, my man? One sec, before you start, Ash, can you hear him?
Yes, can you hear me?
That's a good question. Can you hear
I can.
Holy shit,
wow.
Something works. Okay. All right, so you're actually on with Mike and Ash. All right. How you doing tonight? We'll start over. How you doing, John? How are you, my man?
I love y'all guys. First of all, I love y'all guys. Just to touch off on the coronavirus, we can't really trust anything the Chinese government says. I've seen so many things on the internet that says that, hundreds of thousands of people are being quarantined and, up to 250 million. And I mean, it's just so much information is coming out of there. We don't really know what to listen to on this whole deal, man. Like, we can only hope and pray for the best.
Yeah, I kind of think so. Go ahead and take that one, Ash.
I mean, yeah, man. It's funny. We struggle to discern what's real and what's not on the news, but now it's a little bit of life or death, right? So it's a little bit even more stressful. It's like, well, usually you just read an article and you're like, maybe it's true, maybe it's not. But now it's like there's like a threat, and it's kind of figuring it out is important. But I wouldn't trust China either.
Yeah, not just China,
right.
or media. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. I live in Odessa, and just last week they had somebody in Midland that's 16 miles away from my town, and they thought that they might have symptoms of the coronavirus, but it turned out that they didn't. So it's kind of hitting close to home over here too.
Yeah, that's nuts. That's nuts. And so again, what do we know? The problem is China lies about everything. Well, everybody knows that, right? It's definitely locked in to that. Like that, we know that for certain. So everything else beyond that, like we don't know how much our government knows, and then how much they're downplaying it through the media. That's the problem, right? So again, it's not like full. Think about it this way. Like Todd has a good point there on YouTube, or sorry, on Facebook on the chat. He said that name me one person you know that has the coronavirus, right? Nobody yet. Like nobody. Like it's so minuscule at this point. But the thing is, if they're saying it's as infectious as it is, then that shit spreads like crazy, and you can't contain it. They're saying it's aerosol. They're saying it's not. The masks don't work. It may be getting into people's eyes. Like these are the types of things they're talking about. So yeah, I don't know, man. Like I think propaganda wise, it's why we do this show. It's why we talk about this. But again, it could be, and that's the most frightening part. It could be anywhere in the spectrum from. Like nothing, like kind of SARS was kind of like came and went. It could be something like that, or this could be like literally world pandemic where millions are infected and the shit's being suppressed like crazy. Like that's the nutty part, because you just can't trust the media as far as you can throw them. So crazy stuff. Anything else? What we got you on the phone tonight, John?
Yeah, man. Y'all should really. I'm just throwing this out there. If y'all have a chance, y'all should do a show on pole shift, man. Because, like I said the last time that I called in, the pole continues to migrate. The North Pole continues to migrate, and I just think that there might be something out there that is pulling our pole maybe behind the sun that we can't really see. I mean, I've looked into it a lot, but I'm just saying maybe y'all could look into it a little bit more, and even just let more people know what's actually going on out there. Or at least what you think might be going on out there, because like once it gets to the point of no return, like pole shift is imminent, and I mean that just means total devastation for the coast, every coast of the world, with massive tsunamis and all kinds of terrible things. And I mean I think that y'all might be able to touch it a little bit better than I may be able to, but I mean that's what I was calling for. But at the same time, yeah, I definitely don't trust anything that China says. I mean, I heard some things that Taiwan had put out that were actual numbers, and it actually seemed a little bit more legit than what China was saying. So, I mean, other than that, I was just touching on pole shift.
Okay, appreciate that. We will look into that, and I'm gonna hang up on you. Oops, sorry about that. Let's see. No. Wait. Go back. Go back. All right. So I'm gonna hang up on you because we're echoing here. Thank you for the call. Yeah. So you're totally right. So we will look into some pole shift at some point. Well, it's definitely on the docket. We've added it to the list.
Absolutely.
And so it's one of the things that we will do. Thank you for the call. Thank you for the suggestion. Thank you for participating, and thank you for testing the phone line. So they work. We got a little bit of echo, but I think I can massage it so we get it right. If you want to call 702-957-1037, call us. We can talk about this. We're going to talk about Project Serpo tonight, which is Aliens, the alien exchange program. We'll get to that shortly. We got a couple more news articles we'll get to. But yeah, this is terrifying, right? Like you can't trust the media. You can't trust the government. China is flat out lying. And so what do we do? What the hell do we do? I don't know. I think that's the most terrible part. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so
just
go
on
ahead.
the pole shift, we did touch on the pole shift a little bit during our climate change episode, like a month or two ago, or a month ago now, I think.
Yeah, the Australian fires.
Yeah, during the Australian fire?
Yeah.
Did we touch on it during the climate change?
Yeah, that was the same show.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, we did climate change on that one too. They all blur together, right? Cool. They blur together after a while. Okay.
Yeah, no, it does all blur together. But we'll definitely regroup on that, because that is an issue, and I think there's evidence that our governments and stuff are prepping for that. And you can see the aerosols spraying in the air and atmosphere, and we'll try and dive into that. But thanks for the call in.
Yep, definitely good stuff. Okay, so let's keep on moving here. Anything you want to pick out of the many news articles we got there, Ash? There's tons of good shit.
Yeah,
here.
Sounds like we're not going to get to all of them, so let me pick some of the good ones, right? So
let's get some good shit.
Speaking of ending of the world, let's do the 6.8 magnitude earthquake in Turkey.
All right, let's do that. Earthquakes. Everybody loves earthquakes, right? Real end of the world, biblical type shit. Except it gets better.
Yeah, here we go.
Here we go. All right, go ahead. Yeah. It's up.
Yeah. So this is worldofbuzz.com, which is maybe a little bit dubious, or maybe not super legit, but they have video and images of this, and it's really interesting. So 6.8, which is a pretty big ass earthquake, in Turkey, causes the ground to bleed a deep red color. So if you get a chance, Mike's gonna go ahead and post that in the chat and everything. Take a look at this. This is some real biblical stuff going on here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and read it real quick. Many were bracing for the end of the world back in 2012, where speculations arose about the possibility of an apocalypse. When 2013 rolled around, we all put aside that notion that the world was gonna end. Until now, it's only the beginning of the second month of 2020, and we've already seen more tragedies. We have the virus and everything like that. And one of the latest occurrences, there was a 6.8 magnitude earthquake in Turkey that created a very unsettling and bizarre phenomenon. A blood-like liquid seemed to bleed through the ground as the earthquake tore apart the ground. So this article is also from the Daily Star. So I guess that's the original source. So yeah, people don't really know what this liquid is. Some people thought it was maybe it was from the sewage, and that they have like dye in there and pigment to test different things. But no, they really weren't able to figure out exactly what it is. And it's super gnarly. Look at this. Have you seen this? Have you taken a look at this, Mike?
Yeah, I got the pictures up here. So yeah, whatever it is, it looks like red. It's red. I hope it's not blood. I hope we don't have people being ground up under the ground here, and the earth shifts, and there it goes.
Maybe some of my reptilian family got trapped, and the earthquake shifted and just squeezed them out.
Yeah, exactly. So if you believe in omens or these types of things, there you go. There's one for you. Okay, what time we got? We can go a little bit long. It's Friday. Let's do one more. Let's see. Wait, what else do we got? We got that. We got that.
We have the CIA. That's the one you posted.
Yeah.
Let's do this one. Watch a mother reunite with her deceased child in VR.
I got sick just thinking about that. Okay, let's do that one. I'm linking this, and you guys can check it out. Go ahead, Ash. Take it away, buddy.
So, depending on how you look at this, Mike likes to look at it dystopian future. I kind of lean toward a little bit more optimist. Like, this is kind of cool. But then if you watch Black Mirror, you'll probably lean toward Mike. This is a very Black Mirror episode kind of thing. I think this literally happened on Black Mirror. But so this is futurism.com. And let me pull up the article. So yeah, watch a mother reunite with her deceased child in VR. Would you want to see your deceased loved one again in a virtual world? So this is pretty nuts, guys. So this is a 7-year-old daughter. Nayeon died of an incurable disease. 3 years later, the South Korean mother was reunited with her daughter in virtual reality. So let me read some of this.
I'm putting the video.
Yeah, according to the video, AG Business Daily, the production team spent 8 months on the project. They designed the virtual park
and the dude was amazing. Like amazing. He was one of those guys that you meet and you don't forget. You know what I mean? Even if you meet him briefly, he was amazing. And so I honestly, my memories and my grief do him more justice in my mind than some VR representation of him. You see what I'm saying? And so I think by doing that, you water down what they were for some emotional comfort, Like it makes me sick a little bit. It makes me sick. I don't know. Call me whatever. Call me whatever you want to call me. As always, I don't care. But you see what I'm saying? It's this.
No,
this to
no.
Me,
I definitely see what you're saying, and here's the scary part: is they were able to reproduce this little girl because she's a child actor, so they had all this video of her, right? What is that? That's just data. So, and there's a Black Mirror episode about this, but basically, if they have enough data about you, they can recreate like something close to what you were, but that's not you, right? So that's that whole argument, like, do robots have a soul? Or if you died and they cloned you and you were exactly the same, but is that you, right? So there's something human, there's something like programmed into us, like that humanity factor, where we kind of like this kind of stuff is a little disturbing, right? But if it's just VR in general, if it's a light kind of fun thing, it's fine. But as soon as we start blurring like reality, it's almost like in us already. almost like we've done it before, like in the past. You know what I mean? When we were prior civilization or something, we just kind of know it's wrong, right? It's not. It's because you're investing somewhere else. You're not investing in the real world, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So-
Exactly. Well, not only that, and then so so we got some good comments here. Tamron on Facebook says that's so horrific, and why would anyone want to relive that trauma? And I agree. And then Lazy Guy on YouTube says we grieve for a reason. Let the dead rest. And so like I couldn't agree more. Like you guys are basically summing up what I think about this. But again, we're if we have to manage our grief that way by watering down the true memories of what they were with this digital VR hollow version, I don't know, man. I think we're becoming the soulless monsters. Like I agree. Let the dead rest. This is terrible. This is terrible stuff.
I mean,
let's see.
It just all depends, right? Like you could have made that argument about photos. Right, the Native Americans think that they used to think, or at some point, pictures steal your soul. So where do we draw the line? You know what I'm saying? Like we have to draw the line for ourselves. What is appropriate. If you go in a VR and it's just your daughter and she's just playing and you just can, it's kind of like it's just like a 3D photo, right? And I think for me that's okay, and for you, Mike, that's not. But we would both agree that if they hooked up data to her like an AI and they like started making her walk around and do all this weird, like try and reenact who she is, we'd both be creeped out on that. So I guess there's a different line for everyone, but there's probably a hard line for everyone.
yeah it's probably very polarizing. Let's say. What's up, Gregory? I don't think I called you out earlier. He says that we are a species with amnesia, and yeah. Exactly. And Joe says like watching a video is basically what it is. And I agree, right? And so in many cases we have our own photographs, our own personal, deeply personal photographs and videos we can watch of family members that have passed on that are actually them and not some VR representation. So anyway, that's my take. Call me dystopian, call me an asshole, call me whatever you want, as always. I don't really care. But that's my take on that. And obviously my take is not your take. You feel how you feel about it, but I think it's important to talk about these things because we get to the point where this is going to happen in daily life. Somebody's going to open up a little shack down on the corner in your town where you're going to be able to come in with a few pictures of a passed on loved one, and they're going to make a VR representation of that. And they're going to turn this into a business, and they're going to charge you, $50 for an hour to kind of come in and spend it with somebody that's passed on.
That's totally, you're right. That's totally going to happen.
That's what, it's on the way.
I could do that now.
Yeah, it's on the way.
Hey guys, I got to get going. I got to go start a project.
Got shit to do. No, that's exactly the point. It scares me a little bit because again, like how much are we? Again, we're already hooked up to the internet 24 hours a day in many cases, right? You see those people crossing the street, they can't look up from their damn phone to like make sure they don't get hit by a car. It's like, really, people? Like, what is going on here? Like, we literally live in this digital world now, and I think the more we do that, the more it's dystopia style. So. Anyway, so crazy stuff. What do you guys think? As always, we want to know what you think. We know, what we think. It doesn't matter. In the end, it matters what you think. So the conversation is the important part. If you have comments on this is deep stuff. This is heavy stuff. Do call 702-957-1037. Phone lines are back up. Everything seems to be working. We can manage a little bit of echo and we're good. Or join the Discord. Go to troubledminds.org and click the Discord link, and we'll get you in and we'll put you on the show. Okay, so for now, let's move on from news. Let's move on from the news. How about let's start with Project Serpo. How about that? What have you heard about Project Serpo up to this point? Just a quick, without really getting into any details. What did you kind of know in a cursory manner about this? Here come the aliens, guys. I mean, I think alien time.
I've watched the video or read a synopsis about it, so I think I knew a lot more then. And over time, I've kind of the details have shriveled up, and I'm not exactly sure what's what. So this is going to be a really good refresher for me. But basically, we met with aliens and kind of a treaty, and that we did this like exchange program. We took some aliens in, they took some humans, and this it popped up somewhere, and no one knows where it came from. So there's no way to check its legitimacy, but it's very interesting, and it pops up in other places, right? So I'm very interested to learn more about this.
Okay, let's do it. So we got this website called serpo.org is where this information came from. And what actually tipped me off to this, I hadn't actually heard of this. This is kind of a newer-ish mythology like a kind of like 2005, I believe. So let's read some of this. So here we go. So this is at serpo.org. This is the actual website where a couple individuals have chronicled all the information that came out regarding this. And let's just read some of this. So here's the background. So the information began to be released. And so the information is an alien crashed. We were able to communicate with a live alien. They were able to communicate back to their home. People came, aliens came, and we had an exchange program where we sent people there and kept some of them here to learn from each other, something like that, right? So there's the Cliff Notes version. Here's the background. The information began to be released on November 2nd, 2005 by retired senior official within the U.S. DIA, the Defense Intelligence Agency. I can't say the D's today, who calls himself anonymous, right? This is the problem. We have an anonymous source. Okay, so it continues. Until he chooses to make his name known, and this is the way he will be represented here. Anonymous reports that he is not acting individually and is part of a group of 6 DIA personnel working together as an alliance. 3 current and 3 former employees, and he is their chief spokesman. Up to and including December 21st, the information was released in installments on a private UFO email list, so I can't say that. Private UFO email list moderated by Victor Martinez. See what happens when you pause incorrectly? It sounds all weird. The list at the time contained about 150 people, including many extremely well-known names in UFO research and related or leading-edge scientific fields. Until permissions are granted, their names will be withheld out of courtesy and respect to confidentiality, etc. So those on the list have differing views, of course, and after December 21st, there was a long gap in the postings, and many concluded that Anonymous had gone to ground or stopped his disclosures completely. Now, there was no communication from him of any kind, and finally on January 24th, this is again 2005, and then into 2006, information was received by Bill Ryan, the author of this website that we're reading from, which was not initially sent to Victor Martinez, who was the head of the email UFO chain there. Subsequent information was also received by Bill Ryan and posted to this website accordingly. So they built this over the years since 2005 when this information came out. It's some sort of disclosure project, some sort of disinformation campaign. We don't know. We're going to get into that. We'll talk about that and see what you think about it. I think that's the only important part here. Again, like I said, so when sending information to Victor Martinez, Anonymous wrote 85% of the material, they say. Another 13% came from another source directly connected with the project, and the final 1 to 2% came from a ghost who canceled his email account as soon as he sent his information. So it is not yet known whether this pattern will continue. So there we go. That's how this starts. I did link this if you guys haven't looked at this. There's a ton of information on this website, and there's way more that we can get into in one night. But it's there it is. There's where the information comes from. Serpo.org, and there's how it starts. There's how it's an email chain. And it's sent from an anonymous source, like we know how we love our anonymous sources, right? And then let's and I got a clip. Let's play a clip here. Let's just play a clip and get this started on. I got some people describing what this is all about. So this is from Mind Blaster on YouTube, and he's got like 20 followers, so give him some love. But I was like, sweet, we got somebody that reading part of this that we can play. So let's play this, and you guys can listen. And yeah, Mind Blaster. Here we go.
Mind Blaster, not a good. Hey, Mind Blaster. If you ever see this, man,
exactly. What's up, Mind Blaster? I'll tag him actually. I'll tag him after we're done with this. And
no hate, bro.
No, yeah, it's good. It's good. It's good. Okay, so here we go. I'm gonna have him read this, and here we go. Action.
In 2005, UFO discussion group leader and former government employee Victor Martinez received a series of emails from someone identified only as Anonymous. Anonymous claimed to be a retired government employee, and he or she supplied much of the information about the exchange program. Through the years, officials who are privy to this information have provided some acknowledgement that the reports are true.
Okay, there we go. That's how it starts. So I got a couple of these. Clips where the other people explain this probably a little better than I did. So he took that from Gaia, actually. He was reading right off the Gaia website. And I've got that link. I'll drop it in a little bit later when we get to it. But so that's how it starts. The email chain, we got anonymous source, and they're saying that there was an actual UFO contact back in the 60s leading back to Roswell. So there we go. There's step one. That's where this entire thing started. So anything there, Ash, before we move on? Got some good stuff to get into.
Is this a loon? Is it a whistleblower, or is it maybe the government trying to get some information out there? Because I think a lot of times the reason for not disclosing stuff is they have a reason not to, like maybe to cause a bunch of panic or just not to be able to control the narrative, but they also at the same time do want to get the information out, right? That's what I've heard about the military. They do want to get the information out. They want people to know of it, and it'll be, especially before people get old and pass on and everything like that. So, is this the government? Is it official like disclosure? Is it a whistleblower? It's interesting. I'm wondering.
Yeah, exactly. It's hard to say. So we'll get into more of this, and we can decide to make up our mind as we go. What's up, Penny? I see you there on YouTube. Thanks for showing up. It's not. I don't know. So there's the first part here. So let's cut into the second part. We got tons and tons of stuff to talk about with this. So let's hear about the email chain and where this came from, and get a little more information, and then we'll move on. And there's a connection to Roswell that we'll talk about right after. So action.
Started with a series of emails sent into an insider network, UFO network, of about 150 people, most of whom were ex-military and ex-intelligence people. So this was a high-level UFO network. They called it the UFO Thread List. And this series of emails was sent in from one of the members of the list, reporting on a program that took place in 1964 and 5, wherein we sent 12 Americans to a distant star system as part of an exchange program.
Right.
He was in a position to know because he was involved with the program many years ago. This series of emails took place in 2005, which was, so that was 40 years after the actual event. So that's how it all began.
Okay, there we go. So I think that sums it up. We're very clear where this came from. Anonymous source emails. And alien disclosure of some sort, alien contact with the American government, and some sort of actual, would you call it an actual close encounter of the third kind, wouldn't you? That's probably a good way to describe it.
Is that a segue?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. But okay, so a close encounter of the third kind would be what? Do we know what the close encounters are? Since we brought that up real quick, just before we get to the other part of that we'll get to that a little bit later. Because there's a movie named that, as everybody knows. But do you know what the first, the second, and the third encounters are? You know what they are, Ash?
Oh! I feel like I'm getting quizzed.
You are. You're on the clock.
First encounter is like you see it, right? You like just see it. It's over there. Third, it like interacts with you. No, second. It gets close. I'm butchering this. I know one of them's like.
I got you.
When you like physically interact with them or something.
Yeah, so a close encounter of the first kind. First kind is witness a UFO, UAP, something within 500 yards, 500 meters, I think, because everybody's metric, in the rest of the world. So within 500 meters, first kind. Second kind, some sort of evidence left behind, right? Like you've got a divot in the dirt or something like this, right? So closer than that, and actual physical evidence left behind. And the third kind is actual contact with entities. Like you see them, they see you. There's some sort of actual exchange, whether it's just a sight or communication or whatever it happens to be. So there we go. There's the three, and probably not.
What's the fourth
perfect.
kind when you clap alien booty cheeks?
Yeah, exactly. I think the fourth kind is when you. That's exactly it. The Storm Area 51 and clap alien cheeks. that's the fourth kind, which they haven't made that movie yet. Actually, they probably have. I'm not going to tell you where to find it. Okay, so anyway.
Oh my God.
Yeah, let's not do that. Okay, so there we go. So we have an anonymous source, which again bothers the hell out of me. And so let's. So then this is linked to Roswell, right? So they said 20 years ago, 20 years prior to the 2005, or no, 40 years prior. He said, "Here we go." So here's the link to Roswell, and then we'll continue with some of this and talk about where these aliens come from, what kind of aliens they are, all kinds of crazy stuff. So let's play this clip number 3, and.
Well, the Roswell crash. In the Roswell crash, 5 aliens died. 5 bodies were found near the craft, but 1 survived. And that survived alien, the alien that survived made all the difference in the world, and that's what began the whole Project Serpo saga. Because he was taken to Los Alamos and questioned there. We found a way to communicate with him. One person said they actually operated on his larynx to make him able to talk But I don't think that's really what happened because it wasn't really necessary. He was able to more or less pick up some English, and but he did speak in those tonal variations, very much like what was shown in Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Interesting. So he's talking about an alien. So, okay, so the story goes like this. There were not just one crash in Roswell. In 1947, there was a second crash near Socorro, I think is how you say the name, and so which is a city out there in New Mexico. And the second crash is where they had several ETs die. They had one survive, and this is who this individual is talking about. And this individual that talked about the email chain in this, his name is Len Kasten, Kasten, and he's written a couple books about this. Figure that out. So he's one of the main spokespeople for Project Serpo here. And so Serpo is a planet in the Zeta Reticuli system, right? You knew that, right, Ash? Project Serpo? Of course, everybody knows where Serpo's at, the Zeta Reticuli.
Of course. I mean, we all learned that in school, of course.
Right. Exactly. So if you guys are curious, we're looking at Zeta Reticuli 2 on the screen. So there you go. Universe simulation. So there it is. There's the simulation of what it actually looks like. We're there. On the spaceship, we're there. So anyway, so we're looking for aliens while we're there. But okay, so he says that we had a second crash. We had extraterrestrials that actually perished. There's one, so this is a completely separate from Roswell. This is not the same crash. And then there was one that was alive, and they brought it back, and they were able to communicate with it. And so he says they said they operated on its larynx to make it speak English. He doesn't think that actually happened, but it was able to learn English quickly, and they were able to communicate with this thing. So notice some differences from normal alien type stories. How would they normally communicate in like an abduction scenario there, Ash?
Probing.
Well, okay. After the probe, then what do we do? Do they just start speaking English? Like, hey, bro, what's up?
Yeah.
Can we go down to a liquor store and get some cigars?
Yeah, I think it's the whole telepathy thing, right? But I actually have a theory about that, which kind of falls in line with this. A lot of the abductees have implants, and I believe that it's not like some woo-woo magic thing. They actually like put an implant in your brain, and then they can communicate with you that way. So if an alien crashed, right, and there's a bunch of just regular military dudes, they're not going to have implants, so they're not going to be able to telepathically interface with the being. So they're going to have to figure out some other way to communicate. I don't know. That kind of lines up, right? Makes a little bit of sense.
Well, except a lot of the things that I hear actually are not that the alien shows up and just starts speaking English or learns English. Is that there's some sort of telepathy going on? So I don't know. So we have some weird, already not kind of jiving with the regular story, which is fine because everything doesn't have to, right? But so we got some suspicious stuff right off the bat. We got an anonymous source.
Well, that's what
we got an alien.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Is like maybe it's the implants that allow the people to communicate with the aliens. Like, maybe that's required for the telepathy connection. Not just like biological, whatever's going on in our brains, right? We need like a receiver or a transmitter.
Right. But what you're saying is that he would have to implant every human he communicated with, right? With some sort of device.
Yeah. Yeah. Like when they abduct people, the first thing they do is they put an implant in them so they can control them and plant memories, right? And then that also allows them to communicate. So if an alien crash lands, there's just a bunch of regular dudes, they're not going to have the implant, so they can't really talk to the being, right? So that to figure out some other alternative solution. I'm just saying that's like one way it could have worked out, and maybe this story makes sense.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So good enough. So we have an alien that somehow learns to speak English, whether it's through technology or because he's just a really smart alien and can pick up languages, whatever, right? Whatever's going on. So we have the crash landing, aliens perish. It's not Roswell, but it's near Roswell, same year, 1947. They bring the alien. They're able to communicate with him. And what does the alien want to do? Like if you were on, let's say, Project Serpo, Ash, in a ship, and you crashed and your crew died and you survived, what would you want to do? If you were that alien, the human alien on an alien planet, what would you want to do?
I'd want some space women, and then I'd want to go home.
You want to go home, right? Exactly. So the thing is, after clapping the alien cheeks, you want to go home. So ET phone home, right? So they say that this individual alien was trying to communicate with his mothership or his home planet or what have you. Whatever, he was trying to get help. Right, he didn't want to stay here with the people, and that's the story. So let's play some of this. Let's see. I got another clip. Is it line up here? Let's see. Alien. Okay, yeah. So we'll do that in a sec. But that's the story. That's how the alien gets. That's how we're at this point in the story anyway. And so this was 1947, and it goes until 1964, 65, where things really start to happen. So I don't know. I mean, what do you guys think about this so far? How far-fetched? Do you trust anonymous sources? Is it this is again one of those things that the weird thing to me is it popped up in 2005, right? And so we have some a little bit of retro causality because notice the guy said in that clip that very much like the tones they were speaking in Close Encounters of the Third Kind, the movie, right? This is how the alien kind of spoke, like this high-pitched kind of seal or whale type sounds. But he quickly learned how to speak English. So he or she, I don't know what it is, right? But anyway, so okay. So you follow that. You follow what I'm saying, right, Ash? We got some similarities there to a movie, to a Hollywood movie. That's suspicious.
E.T. phone home.
Yeah, which actually has a link there.
Elliot.
So that's what they say. So they say, based on that. Here's the weird part. So there's some parallels to this story to the actual Spielberg movie, which is 1977, I believe, or 78, something like that. It was a long time ago. And so after the actual crash itself, the 1947 and 1965 incident, which we're going to talk about, but then after, way after 2005, this leaks, right? Quote, leaks from the anonymous source. So I don't know. We got some weird stuff going on here. So if this is the case and it leaked in 2005, but Steven Spielberg knew about it in 1977 or 78, so is Spielberg CIA? Anyway, so there's some parallels. Let's just talk about that. Let's talk about the parallels of that movie and this entire thing. So the aliens land, and there's what you would call an exchange program, right? Tell me about the guys in the red suits in that movie, Ash.
Yeah, so let's pull up the inews.co.uk.
Is that in your...
Yeah, why Close Encounters of the Third Kind was just as mysterious off-screen. So this talks about hold on, let me take my headphones off. While Steven Spielberg's sci-fi classic Close Encounters of the Third Kind is renowned for its sense of cinematic mystery and awe, the metafiction that surrounds it was just as intriguing. Conspiracy theories, unusual storms, and warnings from NASA. So this talks about how Spielberg kind of wrote the script in like a weekend, and he had like dreams that kind of brought this content to him. But yeah, it's interesting because a lot of this really correlates with what you're saying. So in the Project Serpo story, we have an exchange program, right? And I have a clip here, and I actually just counted the people in it, and it's 12, just like this Project Serpo supposedly. So is Project Serpo fiction based on this movie, or is this movie based on something that really happened, right? And then the truth came out later. And what's also interesting is what kind of corroborates with this. Well, actually, I'll get back to it. So let's go ahead and play this clip for as long as it's relevant.
Which clip? It's in this.
I sent it to you on Discord.
Oh, yeah, okay. All right. Let's get that.
It's just a scene from it. It's short. It's
okay.
Minutes.
So this is a scene from Close Encounters, right? Close Encounters of the Third Kind. So this is the clip. All right. So this is the end. If you guys haven't seen this movie, spoiler alert, from a movie from 1977, but spoiler alert. So just letting you know, there's people that get really touchy about that shit. Okay. So anyway, so this is a couple minutes here, and it's from the movie, right? And so the aliens have landed in this movie, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and there's something going on here. The alien entities have come out. They've communicated back and forth with the tones, right? The mathematical tones, the music, because of course they say that's the math language. The language of math is the universal language, and that's how they've communicated to this point. And so they knew they were coming. There's a whole bunch of stuff here, right? So here, let's play this clip, and then you'll see what I mean. So action. I'm just going to mute it. We'll play this. So we have aliens have landed. They're meeting with some sort of a high up government officials. We got Richard Dreyfuss here, who's fantastic in my opinion. And so, back in the day anyway, right? We were all better when we were like young and handsome like him. But but he's going on the ship. And notice there was a line of people in these red suits, right? Go ahead and talk about the red suits there, Ash.
Yeah. So what's interesting about this whole scene is they don't say anything about it. They don't say anything. You see these people kind of like getting ready to board the ET spaceship, but they don't say anything about it in the movie at all. They don't mention it. They don't talk about it. It's almost like it's thrown in there because like it could almost be that the government came to Steven Spielberg and we're like, okay, one day people are going to want to look back and like see the truth or some version of it. And so we want people to be able to reference your movie. Eventually, one day, people will be like, okay, that's what happened. And so there's these people boarding a spacecraft. There are 12 of them. I just counted them before the show. I couldn't believe it. Exactly 12, just like with the Serpo exchange program with these jumpsuits. So I don't know if you talked about the exchange program, but
Not quite
supposedly
yet.
we sent a bunch of people to Serpo and during an exchange program. And a variety of things happened to them, and some of them came back, and this and that. But that's
we'll get to that in a sec. We'll get to that in a sec.
Yeah.
So let me fill in the story here. Okay. So after we're jumping all over the place because the timeline for this is all over the damn place. So think about it. So we have again 1947's a crash. We have dead aliens and a live alien, not the Roswell crash, separate, right? So they say Project Serpo. They communicate with the alien. He wants to phone home. Like E.T., right? So we have this weird dynamic of Hollywood. Is that predictive programming, or is that some sort of insider knowledge back in the day that Spielberg had? Was he a CIA asset, or did he know somebody on the inside? Like, this is weird, right? These are weird things, and they say that E.T. was actually the movie E.T. was inspired by that thing, that E.T. phone home, right? Like once they're here and they're stuck, what they want to do is they want to go home. So I mean. Maybe, right? Maybe. But that's why we're jumping all over because the timeline's weird. So you have that, right? Then you have the Hollywood. We have Close Encounters of the Third Kind, like 77, 78. E.T. is 1984. And then in 2005, somehow, we have this leak that talks about this exchange program that was very much like we just saw in that clip from Close Encounters of the Third Kind, where aliens came, we sent people. And notice, just like you said, Ash, there were people ready with bags packed, red suits, 12 of them, 10 men and 2 women, just like it says in Project Serpo, that we were sending to this planet named Serpo in the Zeta Reticuli system. And so there's some weirdness going on here. So either this is a straight ripoff of the movie, or if there's any truth to this, that there was a leak and they leaked this out as some sort of a maybe this was disclosure then. I don't know. So we have to keep all the options open, talk about the options. I'm suspicious as hell because too much stuff lines up here, right? To call this, like, in my opinion, legitimate right now. But I don't know. That's crazy. Okay.
It is weird, right? Because
it is weird.
Like I said, they don't talk about, like, okay, so in the movie, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, the aliens reach out and then kind of set a date, like a time to meet, but that's it. There's no, like, conversation about an exchange program in the movie, right? This is their first time experiencing the aliens. So why would they have all these people ready to go on this ship? It's like they just threw it in there just to have like a reference to it in the future. You know what I'm saying? It has nothing to do with the movie.
It's weird. Yeah.
Yeah. But like when we look back, we'll be like, oh yeah, the 12 people who went. It's weird. It's weird. I don't know.
So it's either, right, like somebody knew and leaked this information to Spielberg and said, make it like this, or somebody ripped this off from Spielberg and, quote, leaked it 2005 and said, oh, yeah, it was just like the movie, guys. Wink, wink.
But even if they ripped it off from Spielberg, why did he have these random people in jumpsuits getting ready to board the ship?
Well, so that's what I'm saying. So if they ripped it off, they filled in those details. It is weird that in the movie they didn't describe what was actually happening there. So they were boarding the ship and they were obviously leaving and going to some alien world or with them or whatever was going on, right? There was some sort of thing that was set up prior to that they don't really discuss in the movie. And if you saw at the end there was no dialogue. Like it just, like the music's playing, the aliens are out, the saucer's there, the lights are bright, the Dreyfus is looking good, and he's walking into the flying saucer. And then you have like 12 people behind him, right, in red suits with bags packed, ready to go. What was the Elton John song, right? Bags packed, Rocket Man. Like, right? Like, this is like, what the hell's going on here? It's weird.
Right.
It's weird. It's weird that they don't describe what's happening in the movie itself in 1977. It's weird that they're trying to use it as a leak in 2005 with an anonymous source. And yeah, so anyway, at this point, this is what Project Serpo ends up being. So long story short, the alien actually gets in contact with his compatriots, and they come and come get him, right? And they set something up where they're going to do some sort of exchange program, an actual exchange where we send people to their planet, Serpo, the planet Serpo, and they leave aliens here with us to learn from each other. And that's the deal, right? That's the whole deal set up. And unfortunately, the alien ends up dying, so he doesn't actually get to go back home. So he passes away before all this happens, but they do set it up, and they do show up, and that's what the movie's all about. So that's what the Project Serpo is all about. But it mirrors the movie extremely close. And again, that's what makes me suspicious. Anonymous source, just like a movie. I don't know. This is again, it makes me suspicious as hell, right? Makes me suspicious as hell. Well, we got some time traveling going on, or go ahead.
Well, yeah, this article goes on to say, where did I put it? There's actually a really good point in here, and that it's good. So if you scroll down through this, and this talks about the parallels between the movie, conspiracy theories, the production, and all kinds of stuff. But they do mention in the 2014 documentary Mirage Makers, the U.S. government agents claimed they spent decades giving fake evidence to extraterrestrials to gullible speak slower, Mike.
Yeah,
That's
right.
What you were saying.
What the hell? Slow down,
fake
Ash.
Evidence
What's wrong with you? Fake evidence.
Extraterrestrials to gullible ufologists, in an effort to make it easier for the government to spot when the UFO community was getting really close to the truth. So that's a real thing. They put out all sorts of info. They may give you like half of the truth, and then they fill it with half of bull crap, right? So that's why it's always frustrating, because you don't know.
Exactly.
And this could be part of that. There could be some truth to it. There could not.
Exactly. All right. So let's. I got some more clips so I can explain better than we could what this happened. So these aren't the gray alien types you see in the movie. There's apparently the Project Serpo and these aliens that not the Roswell crash. Apparently those were grays. Right? Apparently some sort of gray alien, right? That's the mythology. That's what many things have been reported on. That's what many people think. But this separate crash in 1947 was not a gray alien. So let's see what kind of alien this actually was. It's an alien called the Eben, E-B-E-N. Heard of them, Ash?
Oh, I've heard of them. Lyndon Moulton Howe talks about them.
Okay. All right.
They're
so here we go.
Supposedly the good ones.
These, supposedly the good ones. All right, here we go. So we're gonna play this clip, and this is the type of alien that actually crashed, that they had contact with. It phoned home, and actually got its compatriots to come rescue it. So here we go. Let's play this clip.
Yeah, these aliens were from Zeta Reticuli. It's my belief, and it's the belief of Anonymous, that the Greys, so-called Greys, are from Alpha Centauri, and they're totally different species. I say totally because there's some similarities in terms of their physiology, but basically they're different. The aliens from Serpo are more human-looking. They look like small people, actually. They have a brown complexion. They have 5 fingers and toes. Their eyes are a little larger, but not spectacularly larger like the Greys. And they're much easier to interact with.
Okay, much more affable. Nice. We got nice aliens. And so this is they're the Ebens, right? Is that what you say? Eben? How do we say
Ebens?
That?
Yeah.
Ebens. Okay, so it's Ebens. And so it's a different type of alien. So we're not dealing with the Alpha Centauri Greys, so he says. This is from Zeta Reticuli, the Ebens. Now, what's peculiar about this, and interesting of course, is, and worth talking about, what in my opinion makes it worth talking about, is where have we heard Alpha Centauri before? Or I'm sorry, not Zeta Reticuli. Where have we heard that before?
Oh, that's the classic one. We've heard that a few times, right? But the first time we hear about it is in the Barney and Betty Hill abduction.
Exactly. And so if everybody remembers, we're going to brief that one real quick. We had the abduction scenario, Betty and Barney Hill. They saw a UFO kind of on the highway. They pulled off. They got out of the car. They had missing time for a couple hours. When they came to, they were back in their car. They saw actual aliens inside the saucer as it flew away, and that was that. They don't remember what happened in the 2 hours, and they felt really bizarre and weird about it, and they drove home, and they were kind of in a state of shock. And it turns out that they really do not remember anything else other than those details. But what happens later is they do some sort of hypnotic regression, and separate instances, and they both tell the same story of being abducted and taken on this ship. And this is where the whole abduction thing starts, really, right? The first, quote, credible UFO abduction story, because they have some people that, if this information comes out, they could ruin their lives. Like we talked about this quite often, not often, but often enough where it definitely fits into the story here, and big time into this story. Because what about Zeta Reticuli there? How does that go with the Betty and Barney Hill story? Do you know?
Yeah. So basically, Betty, when they did the regressions, I think Barney was unconscious. Betty was walking around the ship, and on the way out, she saw a map, and she asked the aliens, "Where are you guys from?" And they said, "Zeta Reticuli." And she's like, "I don't know where the hell that is." And so they actually pointed it out on a map to her, or they showed her some sort of hologram or whatever. And she was able to peg the stars and what they kind of look like before we even knew it was there. Like, it wasn't mapped by science yet. And her depiction, her drawing was pretty accurate to what it ended up being. So that's kind of like it just validates her story a little bit more, and it just also kind of feeds into this narrative of and these were the gray aliens, right? The ones that I think are like a hive and crashed at Area 51, or one of the crashes was.
Right. Well, right. So these are different aliens, but she's saying that if she dealt with these and they were from Zeta Reticuli, then these other cats are saying they're from Zeta Reticuli. So are they from different planets in the same system, or is it Alpha Centauri? Like, there's confusion here, right, about who's from where. Like, we got the Greys are supposed to be from Alpha Centauri, according to that one guy. His name is Len Kasten, Lenkasten. Look him up. All kinds of shit on YouTube. He's selling books, right? He was selling books about this, which again is always a little suspicious to me. Not that, you write some books and you're automatically a liar, but you definitely have a profit motive. So there's that, right? So there, and then we have the anonymous sources, and so now we have he says Greys are from not Zeta Reticuli, from Alpha Centauri. So we have the Ebens now. This has turned into kind of a shit show, right? Like, what's actually going on here? Who's from where? What's what? Right. And so again, the impressive thing is that Betty Hill was able to, in a hypnotic state, draw this map, kind of like automatic drawing, you would say. I think that's what they call it, right? Where you're kind of like unconscious and you're just drawing what you're speaking about without looking. And she was able to draw a, not spot on, but very, very close to what the actual Zeta Reticuli system is. So here we go. There's a picture up. I'm going to link this. It's from paranorms.com, Project Serpo. And there's some stuff here. There's some stuff here that makes you wonder, right? Like, what the hell's actually going on? This has been debunked by all debunkers, of course. Just, you got to say that. You got to throw it out there. We can talk about it. I got some debunker links where they talk about this and just shit on it, which is fine. That's okay. Right? We're talking about it for the story's sake, and then for what you think. Not what the debunkers think, not what Snopes says, not what some jerk on the internet says, even though that's just us too. But what do you think? Like, given the evidence, if you haven't heard of this, like, I hadn't heard of this. This was new to me. And it's going around UFO Reddit right now. Or, sorry, not Reddit, Twitter. It's going around Twitter right now. Like in the last week, they're talking about Project Serpo again. So this is a 2005 email leak that's very parallel to Close Encounters of the Third Kind with Steven Spielberg. I mean, there's some weird stuff here. There's some really weird stuff here that seems suspicious as hell. Once again, anonymous sources, And anyway, so Zeta Reticuli, right? Betty and Barney Hill. That's the first time we hear about it, right? Regarding aliens, we got an abduction scenario, and this goes deep into ufology lore, mythology, as I would say, because I just said it. Damn it! All right, so here we go. So we're gonna do this now. Check this out. Now this is a little bit weird too. So when's the next time we heard about Zeta Reticuli? You recall?
So the next time we hear about it is this odd case, which over time has become more and more valid and more interesting, is Bob Lazar glosses over it, right? When he's talking about his time working at SR whatever, or Area 51.
S4. Yeah.
He glosses over the fact where he got to read some briefings, and he talks about the spaceships coming from Zeta Reticuli, small little green men, right? And it just corroborates with that. So I have YouTube. Let's listen to that. It's just real quick. It's like
I got it right here. I got a clip already ready to go. Here we go. So this is Bob Lazar of reverse engineering UFO fame. Back in 1989, he was the supposed whistleblower that said he worked at Area 51, S4, Groom Lake, that whole bit, and he was they hired him to reverse engineer UFOs. So this is a recent clip. He was actually talking to Joe Rogan in this, but this is he's stuck with this story for all these years. There's some inconsistencies, of course, but there's some other things that kind of line up bang on with some other things. So who knows, right? Is he a disinformation agent? Is he real? Who the hell knows? But let's hear what he had to say about this. So and let's play Bob Lazar on Zeta Reticuli action.
So there was some paperwork that indicated that this was from the Zeta Reticuli star system. Now, how they obtained that, I haven't the slightest idea. But it wasn't just from the Zeta Reticuli star system. It was what they called ZR3. So it was a third planet in that star system. So there was no other information about it other than that's supposedly where the craft came from. Now, is that true? I don't know. I have no way of verifying that, but that was printed in the same materials that referenced the reactor. Now, I looked that stuff up when I went home, and Zeta Reticuli is a binary star, two stars that orbit one another, and it's only visible in the southern hemisphere, and it's about 30 some odd light years away. So that's literally all the information I have about that. I don't know how they found out it came from there.
And you also probably have some suspicions that they give you some disinformation like you were talking about before.
Okay, so there we go. That's Joe Rogan, of course. We all know the great Joe Rogan, and Bob Lazar. But notice, he says, so in his documents in Area 51, he says that it said the craft came from Zeta Reticuli. Isn't that what he said? So now we've got it twice. Betty and Barney Hill, we got something lining up. They said the aliens came from there. Now we've got Bob Lazar saying the aliens came from there. Now we have Project Serpo saying that the aliens that were in the movie Close Encounters of the Third Kind, basically, the exchange program where they sent people to planet Serpo, that's the planet in Zeta Reticuli, which would be Zeta Reticuli 3, as Bob Lazar just said. I mean, I don't know. We got some weird synchronicities, right? It's almost like they're scripting this to fool us, right? It's like, hey, what if we base this entire UFO hoax on Steven Spielberg's movie from 1977? What do you think? What do you think about that?
Well, I know that what one of their strategies is they put misinformation out there. And so, like, let's say it's you, me, and two other guys, Mike, and we're in a room and I have a secret. So what I do is I say the secret, but I say it very vague and general. Then I go to each of you and I tell you a different specific version of the secret. So then when it leaks out, I know who the leaker was, right? And so they probably do that. They probably have no real version anywhere. And so a leaker or whistleblower would put out information thinking they have the truth, but it's bogus, right? And then the government can trace it back to where the leak was and figure out who it was. So they definitely do that. And so there's a million different stories out here, and maybe this is the story that they want us to believe, or maybe we're getting to the point where it's okay. It's like not a big deal. We can know these things now. So, or maybe none of this happened. Could be none of it happened.
Yeah, exactly, right? So, all of this seems very suspicious to me. Okay, so, there's different things that are maybe a little more compelling, but right now, I'm suspicious as hell because we either have some time travel action or Spielberg worked for the CIA and had leaks, or this is all just a bunch of bogus, right? Like, there's and if you give me the three and say, okay, we have time travel, we have we have CIA, or we have just a bunch of hogwash based on a movie from 1977. You know what I mean? Like, I think probably I would lean toward maybe a hogwash from the movie. But again, that's just me. That's just from what I see here. And so the thing that makes me say that is if you guys aren't familiar with this story. Now, the anonymous comes in, right? That is never really actually identified as far as I'm aware. But a lot of this information is coming from somebody named Richard Doty. Familiar with the name? You know who that is, Ash? Richard
No,
Doty.
I don't. I actually don't know who that is.
Okay, so
Sounds familiar.
Richard Doty is a guy famous in the UFO community, let's say infamous, for disinformation. And so he was... So there's some more... The plot thickens on this story. So not only is Richard Doty involved in this and trying to push information into this Project Serpo bit, which seems like disinformation if it's coming from him because that's what he does, and I'll explain why. Back in the day, the 80s, I believe this was, he worked for the Air Force Office of Intelligence. It was something like that. Excuse me for misspeaking. It's something real close to that. And so he was actually involved in a disinformation campaign against an individual named Paul Benowitz. And this guy, he thought that basically Doty fed this guy information to let him believe that he was being contacted by aliens from outer space, from different star system, right? And so this guy Paul Benowitz was so into it that he was a computer programmer and all this stuff back in the day. Before computers were really anything, they were trash back then. They weren't really computers. Like you had to have a computer the size of a room to do anything. But he was making programs that he thought he could get these signals that were coming to him, that were being sent to him. He thought they were alien signals, and he made these, algorithms before there were algorithms back in the day, right? Actual hardline computer programs to try and decipher the information. Well, it turns out the information he was getting from the star system was planted by the government and this individual named Richard Doty. And to the detriment, so then, not only that, then Benowitz told Doty, hey, this is what's going on. Like, holy shit, I thought we're being contacted. I've got information. I'm writing an algorithm or a program that can figure out this out. We're going to be talking to aliens. And then Doty told him that the government was after him. And so it's like this huge paranoid loop where none of this was true. But it ended up, Benowitz ended up with a breakdown. He actually had like a nervous breakdown because of this. And Doty claims he was responsible as a disinformation agent, screwing with this guy. For what? For what reason? I don't know to what end. But this is the same guy that's involved in this Project Serpo now. His name has surfaced around 2005, 2006, 2007, right? To be not the anonymous, but maybe a group, part of that group that's supposedly the anonymous person that's leaking this information, right? See what I'm saying? So as soon as his name pops up, everybody goes, oh, come on. This guy again? Right? You see what I'm saying? Richard Doty.
I mean, that's fair.
Right? Yeah, that's fair. Right? But then he says he's reformed now and all these other things. So anyway, we got some information on this instead of me just telling the story like hip shooting here. Let me look. We got some stuff here.
Okay, that's a good synopsis.
Okay, yeah. So thank you. Okay, so but the thing is with this is that once his name pops up, he says he's reformed now. He no longer works for the government. He's no longer a disinformation campaign guy. But for some reason, he is still trying to remain relevant in the UFO community. Right? It's weird. It's weird. You figure if you were kind of a stain on your record like that, you would get the hell out of it, right? You're like, okay, they know I'm a spook. Get me the hell out of here. No, man, this guy's still weaving tales.
Yeah, I mean, like, he's like, is he getting paid by the government right now? Like, is he on payroll still? Like, you don't know that. So, I mean, it's how many times are you going to trust someone who lies right to your face?
And
like,
brags about
even
it.
even at the cost of someone having a mental breakdown.
Yeah, and then that person died. Paul Benowitz ended up dying and kind of never recovered from the mental breakdown. I don't know if it was direct, but it was definitely like he ruined the guy. Okay, disinformation, UFOs, aliens, the government's after you. Turned a person who probably had a little bit of a a psychosis of some way into a full blown breakdown. So I mean, it's not good. It's not good. Okay, so let's see. Hold on, we got some stuff here. Read. Okay, let's see. Richard Doty. Okay, so interestingly, let's see. In 2006, Richard Doty and Robert Collins released a book called The Black World of UFOs, Exempt from Disclosure. And so, notice, 2005, this information kind of comes out. 2006, Richard Doty, the known hoaxer, UFO disinformation guy, says, oh, by the way, I've got a book coming out next year, as this information is, quote, leaked. Project Serpo. I don't know, man. I don't know. We got some weird stuff here. Let's see. Hold on. Richard Doty. I got some stuff here. But anyway, yeah. So there's some. As I find this, there's some crazy stuff here, right? And so his story doesn't end there. He's still involved in this. We're gonna time travel back. He's involved in this back with Linda Moulton Howe in the 80s. So anyway, there you go. Now that you're briefed on Richard Doty, what do you think? I'm gonna read this from.
Yeah, I don't.
Go ahead.
So what is this connection to the Serpo exactly?
So he's linked in linking the information. So they nobody's confirmed that he's actually the anonymous guy, but he's supposedly in the group that this guy anonymous guy comes from. He's part of it, and so he's pushing information to push Project Serpo in 2005, and then right after he releases a book in 2006, after this kind of hits the airwaves, as you would say. Mm-hmm. So the timing seems suspicious as hell.
Yeah, I like the remote viewing data point because it's sort of unbiased except for the personal like the actual individual, but like that Farsight group, they'll have multiple remote viewers do the same session, right? So the same target. So you kind of get to see like, okay, like this person's like focusing on the wrong thing or this nonsense. But these two guys are coming up with the same thing. And so they did the Area 51 crash, and it was basically like we shot that shit down. Like there was like a UFO going by and there was these 3 grays, and that thing got blasted out of the sky and it crashed. The aliens looked pretty messed up. I don't think any of them really lived. So maybe that was the first crash or something. But it's tough. It's tough to kind of like build a narrative, right? Because they're just if you try to hide the truth, eventually it'll come out. But if you just plant your own rumors and they're more interesting than the real story, then you can never really get to the real things. Did this happen? Maybe it happened a little bit, right? Maybe just a little bit happened where we sent one dude over there and he came back. Yeah. We don't know. And
okay, so here we go. So I got more on Doty. So I linked this so you guys can check it out. This is rationalwiki.org, and it's talking about Project Serpo, and it links Richard Doty, okay? I'm going to read this straight from the top. Project Serpo is a science fiction fantasy launched as though true onto several UFO-oriented web forums starting in November 2005. Gullible UFO researchers such as Bill Ryan, Carrie Cassidy, and Linda Moulton Howe were totally bamboozled by this fiction. Author Len Kasten, which is the guy talking in the very beginning of those clips we played, that wrote the books, it continues, swallowed the story so completely that he wrote a book about it. As late as May 2019, the yarn was retold as true on the overnight radio show Coast to Coast when Kasten was a guest. And here we are talking about it again. And the only reason I know about it, it's going around on UFO Twitter. If you guys are on Twitter, they're talking about this like it's relevant again somehow. Okay, so anyway, so we already know Serpo exchange program landed, crashed. Ebens are the aliens. We sent people to their planet. We'll talk about them in supposedly how long they went and how long they stayed and all these other things, what they did. There's apparently information about that, so we'll talk about that. But here we go. The story, how it unfolded. Apparently, it all started in 2005 with an email from Request Anonymous to a ufology mail list moderated by Victor Martinez. We talked about this earlier. Anonymous claimed to be a retired U.S. government official with top secret clearance. Investigation by the Reality Uncovered Network led them to believe that Anonymous was Richard C. Doty, a former security guard with the Air Force Office of Special Investigations. That's what I couldn't remember earlier, who had a book to sell, by the way. So they're saying that the anonymous guy is actually Richard C. Doty. So they've tracked this back to him. Some sources, of course, as far as I'm aware, he's never admitted it. But so November 2005, this information comes out, and then bam, in 2006, he's got a book out. And he's the hoaxer, right? The guy who admitted weaving UFO tales. It's so anyway, as soon as he's involved, I just went, oh God, this dude again. Like he pops up again. He's still doing like UFO conferences and shit.
You know what's funny about that is if he was like an alien UFO community disformant, once he got canned, that's a weird resume. It's hard to get like a decent job. So now he's trying to make money, right? Like off his stupid book. And so it kind of lines up with like if you look at his career and it corresponds with fake information, and then he's still got, after he's done with the government, he's still gonna make a buck. So he just keeps peddling like nonsense, and maybe he even still getting a paycheck on top of it from the government.
Maybe, yeah. So that's the point. So one way or the other, right? So he's bamboozling somebody, and so whether he knows information, there's some truth to this. Maybe the Spielberg thing, like maybe he had some sort of CIA leak, like I said. Who knows, right? But it definitely seems like this information has come out. This Len Kasten guy wrote the book. He's talking about all kinds of this stuff on YouTube if you go look him up. And so, I don't know, like he had a lot of people involved. And here's the thing. If you go back and look, Linda Moulton Howe says she was contacted by Richard Doty in like 1983, I believe, 83, 84. And he told her he had this information, this top secret information that he was going to give her an exclusive. And they set up an HBO series. And they were about to make an HBO series on this. And so she kept waiting for the information. They had a series booked. And then he eventually backed out and didn't give her any information. But he hinted that it was something similar to this. Something similar to Close Encounters, the exchange program. And so we have multiple times this guy has kind of tried to peddle these stories to different people, and notice how they kind of end up in commercial circles. So first time was an HBO special that kind of never hit the airwaves, and the second time he launched a book a mere couple months after it leaked. So anyway, there we go. So there's more of this. Let's play some of this and wind this down on what actually happened to supposedly, again, according to Project Serpo, what happened with the exchange program. So 10 men, 2 women were supposedly taken on the ship by the Ebens and taken to Zeta Reticuli. All right. So let's play some of this and wind out the rest of this story, and told by other people that can tell it better than me. So let's do that. And
the Earth travelers took literally tons of supplies with them, including food, medicine, weapons, and jeeps and motorcycles. But during the trip, they ate Eben food, which they heartily disliked because they said it tasted like paper. On the journey, they explored the spacecraft and were able to communicate with Earth. Unfortunately, one American had some kind of accident and died on the trip. They completed the 40 light-year distance in only 10 months. When the spacecraft landed and the Americans disembarked, they received quite a positive welcome. A large number of Ebens were present to greet them, and the Eben female spokesperson spoke to them in fluent English. The astronauts were overwhelmed with the brightness of the 2 suns. It was about 107 degrees, and they were in great discomfort due to the heat, which remained a problem for them during their entire stay on the planet. The Americans expected to stay on Serpo for 10 years. As it turns out, due to their confusion with the calendars, they stayed 13 years. It was difficult to keep track of days and times since the planet had 2 suns and it never got completely dark. One day on Eben lasted 40 hours as opposed to our 24. During their stay on Serpo, the Americans learned that what they could about the history of the Ebens. The population of Serpo at the time of the visit was about 650,000, and all were Ebens. There was no other race or species on the planet other than Ebens. The astronauts learned about the Ebens' religious beliefs and technology. It seemed they lived fairly primitively for a culture that also had advanced technology. Specifically, Ebens had anti-gravity vehicles they used for ground transportation.
Okay, so there we go, right? So there's the rest of the story. There's a little bit more we'll finish up. So apparently the individuals, the 12 humans, went to the planet Eben, right? Zeta Reticuli 3. Interestingly enough, Bob Lazar says that's where the UFO came from for Roswell, that they were reverse engineering. So, I mean, I don't know. So we got some weird synchronicity there. However, Richard Doty's involved. There's some really suspicious stuff. I don't know what to think. I mean, I know what to think, but do you know what to think? I don't know. Like, what do you think? Here we go. So, as you guys know, we present the information as it's out there, and whatever you think, tell us. We'd like to know. Please call 702-957-1037. This is a live show. You can be part of the show by dialing that phone number or joining the Discord. You can do that by going to troubledminds.org, clicking the Discord link. Tell us what you think. We want to know. At this point, from what you know, from what we've presented, there's a ton more. There's literally serpo.org. There's hundreds of pages of this information on when the information leaked out, who was involved, who went where, who did what, like all this stuff. There's a ton of information. It's been chronicled since 2005, and then we're still time traveling with this, right? So if it leaked in 2005, we've got Close Encounters of the Third Kind in 1977. We got Linda Moulton Howe in the HBO series in 1983. Richard Doty involved in just about all of it. I don't know, man. Looking suspicious as hell. Do call. Let us know what you think. 702-957-1037. What do you think, Ash? As of this point.
Yeah, I mean, so like some of the comments mentioned J-Rod, right? That's the alien story some guy wrote and published, where they were keeping a live gray Eben or something. And
J-Rod, right?
At the end of the story, he saves it. He pushes it through a portal and it goes back to its home world or something like that. And I never bought that story. It just seemed too happy ending, right?
Hollywood.
And, exactly. And we're almost trained to believe these Hollywood stories. Our reality, it's almost like a form of mind control, right? It's like the hero's journey. This is how things are. So anything outside of that, it's hard for you to kind of take in. And I don't know. I'm not buying it. I mean, I imagine some of it's true, but yeah, it's just too much inconsistency. And at that point, there was a huge incentive to put out propaganda on this issue. That was like full in effect. Whereas I think now, things are a little bit more laid back, or things have changed. Back then, it was like people were kind of not ready for the truth, right? They were ready for a story, a Steven Spielberg movie with happy endings. That's what people wanted, right? And so they kind of just gave people what they wanted.
Yeah, it sure seems like it, right? So we got a couple more links of Doty I can throw in here to kind of see how he's been involved with this the entire time. So here's a statement from the author of the site, of the website. Yeah, you're good. So Bill Ryan wrote this on serpo.org, right? There are some serious and clear scientific anomalies regarding the apparent violation of known physical laws. Specifically, they traveled 40 light years in 9 or 10 months, right? So there's one of them he's talking about. He continues, Anonymous and his colleagues have attempted to answer all questions posed so far. There are at once persuasive reasons to dismiss the data and persuasive reasons to evaluate it very carefully indeed before rushing to judgment. The personal opinion of the author is that even if it may be considered unclear whether the account is totally accurate, it is of such extraordinary potential importance that it deserves a fair hearing in its entirety. So he's basically saying that, yeah, this shit sounds ridiculous. But if even, just like Ash said, if some of this is true, even a little bit of this is true, it changes a lot of things. So there we go. That's what the guy that wrote this, that curated this website, brought all the data together on serpo.org, www.serpo.org. Bill Ryan's the guy, and he was trained in mathematics and physics and psychology at Bristol University as far back as 1974, followed a brief stint in teaching. So he's an academic, right? And so he's looking at this information, trying to look at it and make sense of it. All right, so there we go. Here's another one real quick. So this is serpo.org consistencies. Check this out. So this is another Richard Doty involvement. And he says that he was actually present for an interview of an EBIN. So the following is an account of the meeting Rick Doty, was involved in with the EBE-2. On March 5th, 1983, interestingly, right around the time he was talking about that HBO special to Lindenville Now, he continues, I was at Los Alamos National Laboratories conducting business on a counterintelligence project. During my visit, a source I'll call LANL1 asked me to sit in on a very special interview. Not knowing what he was talking about, I questioned him. However, he wouldn't say exactly what the project involved or who was being interviewed. So he accompanied this source to an underground facility, blah, blah, so on and so forth. We entered and turned right. We walked about 200 feet, entered the vault door. The room contained 2 tables, several chairs, and recording equipment. I sat near a door. About 10 minutes later, 3 people who I did not know entered the room. One, an Air Force colonel, asked me to sign a security document, which gave me an upgraded clearance. He says, I've never heard of this, but I signed. The colonel told me I was to listen but not make any sounds during the interview. Okay, so he basically says here, it says it right here, about 5 minutes later, in walks a 4'9", non-human looking creature. It was dressed in a tight-fitting cream-colored suit. It had no hair, and it was identified to me as EBE-2. And there we go. Richard Doty, connected to all of this. So he actually says that he was there. He was part of this. He's aware of the EBINs. This is 1983. I mean, there's a lot of, and this is all right there on the site, serpo.org. Check it out. And if you really want to get into it and you really want to bend your mind, think about the possibilities here. Think about if even some of this is true. Crazy, right? But now we have an actual Richard Doty sighting with the serpo.org instead of just being accused of being the anonymous. What do you think about that?
Richard Doty? Who's that?
That's the guy. That's the disinformation guy.
Oh, that's the same guy?
That's the same freaking dude. Yeah, same dude.
And he said he was present at a meeting. That was him?
That's what he said. That was his statement. That was his statement in 1983, around the time he was trying to peddle that stuff to Lindenville Now. So, I mean, it's almost like they throw this guy in the middle of things and just turn apple carts upside down, you know? So maybe, let's say there is just a little bit of this that might be true, right? Let's just go out on a limb here and say, okay, all right, maybe there's some part of, maybe there was a crash, maybe there was a second crash, maybe there was a live ET in 1947, right? But maybe that information leaked a little bit and started this Roswell business, and then they put this guy on the case down the line to turn it upside down and make everybody look like fools by talking about this other stuff. I don't know. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, the whole Roswell story it started with them putting out an article, the government, saying that they found 3 alien bodies and some
flying
crash
saucer
wreckage.
Yeah,
and it's been a shit show ever since.
It totally has. It totally has.
Yeah. So, I believe that first statement. I believe that's what happened, and they've been trying to just kind of cover it up ever since, and they've gotten better at it. And now they've got people so confused that, anytime you get into this, it kind of drives you crazy, right? And you don't know what's real, what isn't. That's why I like to stick. I don't like to anything that comes from the government, a disclosure, or okay, so like the Pentagon UFO video, that's somewhat legit. I'm okay with that. That could be the government stuff. That could be alien stuff. Doesn't matter. Still a UFO. So that's the fight I like. But anything from like an insider or whatever, you can't trust. They don't even know what they're looking at or doing or saying. But I'll tell you what. I have a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend, and who knows an insider, and they took him out to the woods, got rid of their phones, and he only said one thing, and he just said it's more like Men in Black than you would think. And that's kind of like where I'm leaning. Like, this is all just some story they're weaving to just keep us from like really knowing what's going on. maybe even to protect the aliens' interests. So because people would freak the hell out, and if they knew aliens were next door or whatever. So yeah, I'm leaning toward nonsense. But then again, the whole Steven Spielberg link is kind of weird, right? So I don't know. What do you think, Mike?
It's weird. It's time travel type shit. So either if either there was some stupid time travel business where they went back and changed the movie type of thing, right? Like I said, ridiculous way out there to match what actually happened, or there was some sort of disinformation campaign from a long time ago that they're trying to change what actually happened to make us believe these other things, right? An actual government disinfo campaign. And Richard Doty seems to have his fingerprints all over this shit this time, and several other times even. Or they just ripped this shit off from Spielberg's 77 movie and turned it into a bunch of UFO mythologies, because knowing that millions of people had seen this and knowing that it would kind of easily flow into the zeitgeist with that predictive programming stuff, right? Which is again why when you watch this stuff like Ancient Aliens and whatever, right? Like anything like kind of wink, wink, disclosure entertainment style, you got to have your guard up a little bit, I think, because it's almost like they're setting you up for this same shit down the road, right? So imagine if Richard Doty was a disinformation guy and the government specifically said, okay, we don't have anything at all, but we want you to weave a tall tale based on this movie that millions and millions of people saw. You see what I'm saying? That's sinister. That is sinister. That's literally planting the seed in our brain unconsciously, subconsciously, before we even really get a chance to think about it and parse it. And then something so similar happens that what? We believe, don't we? Because we've been told to
and
believe
you could see it. The UF community, they've got them going in circles, man. They're in circles. Look, they're like literally completing a circle back to Serpo. And I think a lot of them are running around with their heads cut off. And I think, and this is one of the reasons I wanted to kind of get on the show and I wanted to talk about this stuff. I think there are things that you can look at and you can kind of discern and you can kind of hug and you can cling to these things and then use those. But you can't just go out in left field and then hope the government or these insiders are going to give you the knowledge and be like, well, maybe, because they're like you said, exactly. They're planting stuff in your mind subconsciously so that you're like more easily you're like being acclimated to this like fake story. And so if none of it's true, that's going to be a hard pill to swallow. You got to start from zero. And I've seen stuff surface and then completely go away again. And I'm almost wondering that's probably the real stuff, right? Like they said the Area 51 thing had like I saw pictures of like weird hand controls where they put their hands on them, like weird stuff. I'm like, wow, I've never seen this before. And I haven't seen it since. So maybe that's the real stuff. And they just make sure this like this happy narrative's out there and they just spin in it. And like I said, they got everyone going in circles. Or again,
still. Okay, so how about this though? Let's go full tinfoil hat cynical, where all the UFO stuff is fake. Okay, we're living in a world now. We're living in Mike's world, where
space
all of it's
is fake.
All of it's fake. Not space. But let's say UFOs are fake. All right. Let's say all the UFO information that we've got is intentional government leaks for one reason or another. Right? It's all intentional to cover this or to cover that. This secret project, the other. We're just saying. Follow me on the logic here. So if that's the case, and every little thing drips out, and like you said, it kind of comes and then goes away. Is it possible that it goes away because it didn't catch? It didn't go, quote, viral. You know what I mean? So it comes, It gets no traction, and so it just disappears. They're like, okay, that didn't work. So let's try this next. You know what I mean? So maybe the entire conversation we're having, this entire show maybe, is based on a huge CIA lie, right? Is that possible? Like there's your full tinfoil hat, like upside down, backwards, like doing the yoga pose on your head type of like what's really happening here. And I think we have to be able to consider all those possibilities, right? Like, and if there's some truth to some of this, of course they do disinformation. So we have the huge challenge of parsing through all that information, all of us together, not just us, everybody that listens to this, everybody that thinks about these things. Is all of it disinformation? Is part of it? And what do we do with information we can't vet properly? I mean, It's hard. It's hard.
You also have to take into consideration when it comes to military intelligence. A lot of times they'll put things out there, and everything's a strategic move, right? So they could be chess moving against other intelligence agencies, other governments. We could just be
pawns.
Byproducts in a war, in an information war.
Yeah.
Even against the aliens themselves, I really suspect that there are not friendly aliens, and they have agendas. And so, a perfect example, 5G, right? 5G, there's lots of complaints of it. It's not very safe for people. But if we had a 5G network, maybe we could detect like aliens that are living amongst us or something like that. So there's like chess moves probably happening that we're just not privy to, against all different kinds of people, and we just get caught up in these chess moves.
That's some Illuminati shit, man. That's some Illuminati shit. Welcome to the tinfoil hat club. Tinfoil hat. Strap that thing on tight.
Yeah, I got a tinfoil helmet with mine has the visor that goes up.
Hell yeah.
Got like a little.
I'm with you. I agree. I again, right? This stuff bends my mind thinking about it. But again, what do you guys think? And to be fair and to be perfectly honest, if you're interested in Project Serpo, go look it up. Go check it out. There's I'm not shitting you, hundreds of hours of people talking about this stuff, and I did it very poorly. Like tonight, because we were jumping timelines. We went from 2005 to 1977 to 1983 to 1965 to 1947. We were all over the damn place. So if you didn't get it or you didn't follow me, it's not your fault. It's my fault. Do look into it if you're interested and check it out. See where Richard Doty was involved, and see if he's maybe still working for the government and says he's not. And if he's still doing that and he says he's not, he's still attending UFO conferences. So you can still go see this guy. He's still alive. He's still doing it, as far as I'm aware. So, I mean, these are the crazy things. These are the crazy things we think about, the crazy things we talk about, the reason we do the show. So there's Project Serpo badly. I apologize. I could have told that much better. But okay, wait, let's do the last clip here. Do the last clip. So the humans went off. They ate the Eben food. They didn't like it. They stayed there for 13 years. It was supposed to be 10, right, on and on. I got one more clip to end this, and then we got time for you guys. So if you want to call and give us your take on this, what do you think? Is it disinformation? Do you believe some of this? Do you think all of it's bullshit? What do you think? That's the important thing. We have time for you, 702-957-1037. I'm going to put the phone number up right now, and there we go. And we're going to play this final clip. This is the last clip where they explain. So they were supposedly on Eben in Alpha. No, I keep trying to say that. In Zeta Reticuli 3, right? So they were on this planet called Eben, E-B-E-N. 12 people went. All right. Now this is what happened to those people, and then after that, we'll take your calls, and if not, we'll wind this up. So here we go. This is the final bit of Project Serpo action.
After a few years, the Americans moved to the northern part of the planet, where it was cooler, and they were able to grow food more to their liking. They had been taking with them food to last for more than 2 years, but when they ran out, they had to eat Eben food, which they never learned to like. Due to radiation exposure, 2 of the members of the expedition died while on Serpo. 2 Americans liked life on Serpo so much they decided to stay there. The remaining astronauts returned home in 1978, and the government quarantined them for an entire year. During that time, they had many debriefings, which resulted in a 3,000-page report. They were then allowed to go back to their normal lives. Little is known about their lives since, except the last surviving one died in 2002. There has been no communication with Ebens on Serpo since 1985. So it is not known what happened to the Americans who chose to stay on the planet.
So there you go. And so the story ends. And so 2 died on Serpo. 2 decided to stay because they liked it so much. And the remaining 8 returned. And little is known about the remaining 8. They kept them in quarantine for a year, as the man said there, which is a Mind Blaster on YouTube. What's up? What's up, buddy? I'll tag you. Thanks for reading that for me.
Mind Blaster.
Mind Blaster. So there we go. So that's the end of the story, right? That's how it ends. So I don't know. Is it far-fetched? Hell yes. Hell yes, it is. Does it mean it's not true? Well, I don't know. I don't think that means it's not true. But there's definitely a lot of holes in this story. So, is it how much disinformation is here and how much actual Roswell type stuff happened? Who the hell knows, man? Who the hell knows?
Well,
That's why we
you know
talk
what?
about it. Go ahead.
I was thinking, there's a few more things about the story, by the way, before I say that. It's like, apparently they had like a council of elders. They had like a weird work schedule. So there was like a group of people who kind of made all the decisions, and everyone else was just like a part of the society, and like some weird architectural stuff. And if you read into it, if you're interested, whether it's true or not, it's like a nice little fiction book, right? So you can read into it and learn more about it. But actually, with this whole thing, it's really interesting because if the community ever got wind, if they were ever onto like the real story, if they started getting close, wouldn't that provoke a reaction? You see what I'm saying? Like if we're talking about Project Serpo, let's say we talk about Project Serpo, and then we just talk about it, and then we're like, that's it, that's the thing, and we talk about it for a year, and the government doesn't react. There is no like more additional information. Then you can say like it's bullshit. It's what they want us to be looking at, right? But if you get close to the truth, they'll react, right? Is that that's an interpretation of we could basically like crowdsource this. We could like pick a topic, start leaning in that direction, and see what these disinformant agents say, and like go to the opposite direction of what they're saying. So anyway, this is me pitching. I honestly think these mantis beings, it sounds weird as hell, but there's no corroborating information for these things. Like you can find it, dig for it, and the information it seems very legit, but there's no like happy fucking Star Trek narrative from the government about mantis beings. And I suspect that's because it's probably real, right?
Yeah, it definitely could.
You see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. Well, okay. So I'm gonna do one more quick one, and you got to give me like a minute. I gotta go real quick. I'll be right back though. So here's my final thought on that, and then you can continue. We'll take the phone call. So you got like a minute to yourself in just a sec here. But what I'm saying about that is the basically I think the government is smart enough and calculated enough that if, let's say, like I said, they kind of throw these little breadcrumbs out and kind of go on what goes viral, right? Like what gains traction, and they use that. And then so I think that if something blew up bigger than they wanted it to for some reason, and it was like, oh shit, this is getting out, that wasn't the story we wanted to get out, I think they'd still have a plan B for that, right? I think they might branch off of that and turn it into more hogwash. You know what I mean? So if you got too close, I think they would branch off of it. They would have a plan for that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not exactly sure you could just take it as, well, when the information gets out, if the government either does this or does that, you can take like an actual truth from that. Because I don't know, because I think they kind of have a contingency plan, let's say, on the information. So there you go. There's your floor. I'll be right back. I got 30 seconds, 1 minute. Be right back. And then we'll take this phone call. All right, get it. All yours.
All right, sounds good. So I'm gonna rant for a minute here, and then we're gonna take a phone call from the caller. So stay on the line. But Mike had a great point. If the truth started slipping out, the government would probably react. They'd probably have a contingency plan, and I would like to argue that happened. Right? Like, think back. What happened in the last few years that provoked some sort of movement or reaction, a counter movement, right? So Bob Lazar goes on Joe Rogan, starts talking about all these 11 craft in silos and aliens making us and all this kind of information. And people are like, whoa, this is something. I mean, I read the comments, it's tons of views. Joe Rogan is a huge influential figure. So this is like red alert to the government, right? If Bob Lazar is correct, if this is legit, right? What he says, this is a red alert. So what happened shortly afterwards? The movement, the whole UFO alien thing, got basically turned into a joke, clapping alien booty cheeks at Area 51. They took all that steam, all that momentum, and rolled it into this stupid, like, sleeping with aliens and a bunch of nerds standing outside Area 51, right? So it's almost like they had these contingency plans, and one of them was they were keeping track. And the kid who made it, the guy who made it, even said like, he created the group a long time ago, and like it was just like a small group, and he's like, wow, it just blew up. Yeah, well, I mean, if you have infinite money, you're the government. All you have to do is drive paid traffic to a Facebook group,
To
create some
anything.
Facebook ads.
I'm back, by the
And
way.
there you
Yeah.
go. You can create a movement as long as you have enough money. You can
Twitter,
get enough in front of enough people.
That's the whole thing.
So
money talks, and you could pay like an entire like mob of employees to make something trend. So like you can actually game the algorithm with money, pay a team of people to pump information into the same game while boosting it with money. I mean, like if I was a billionaire and I wanted to do evil, dear God, I could wreak havoc if I wanted to. It's absurd. But yeah, I caught the end of that.
And these people who are billionaires, you can say what you want. They're smart, and so is the government. And they have an unlimited budget. And you think, like, go to Reddit. Reddit is compromised.
Yeah,
I don't even use Reddit anymore. It's compromised. It's Orange Man bad.
Well,
all of
worse,
it. It's like
worse than
everywhere.
That. Worse than that,
dude.
It's definitely psyop type stuff. It's
yeah,
awful.
and it's like
awful,
yeah. I imagine people don't like Trump, but I don't imagine people don't like Trump that much. You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm not trying to get political. I'm just using an example. So yeah, let's say I didn't like the president, and I'm China. I could just drop $1 billion, and like those are people who are full staffed, full time. Like if you had enough to pay 5 people full time to troll on the internet, what could they get done?
Yeah. And you're boosting their campaigns, like the shit they do with money behind it. Yeah, it's absurd. All right, let's take this phone call. And great points, good stuff. Thanks for that. Give me a break there. All right, you're on Troubled Minds. What's up, Larry from Oklahoma? Right? How you doing, my man?
I'm doing all right. How y'all doing?
Oh, doing good. Could you get a little bit closer to the phone, please? You're a little bit quiet.
Hear me now?
Yeah, good enough. Fire away. What's on your mind, man?
All right. I was going to say that, okay, the government tried to cover up aliens for, what, like 50 years or something?
Yeah, maybe longer.
Something
Yep,
like
at least
that.
50.
Okay, at least 50 years. And now they come out with it and disclose that their fighter jets have caught them on video, and they leaked those videos. They leaked that there's foreign substances that they found that can only be, could only be a piece of a ship. It's some kind of special alloy, and we can't replicate it, and all these things. I mean, doesn't that kind of seem like, regardless of how much supposedly evidence we have of the thing, that it's disinformation, because you're getting them from the corrupted source of the media and their scientists that are on their pay card. They're on their pay.
Yeah, it's like they're putting out this information. Why? Right.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's it.
That's the truth.
Yeah, that's the reason.
This is the thing. Okay. If you look at the broad picture of what's going on in the world, what?
Oh, I guess you can't hear me. Go ahead. Sorry.
Can you? Okay.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. Sorry. I wasn't going out to the stream there.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. What's going on is look at the big picture of the world and what's happening to the people. Not the government, not militaries or anything like that. The average citizen. That's just a citizen of every country. We're all getting lied to by our higher ups in civilization, whether that be the media or our government. Any trusted source that's feeding us knowledge is corrupted. If they have real knowledge, they're not teaching it in school. If they have real information, they're not giving it out on the news. And if they have real solutions, it's not happening from our government. In no way, shape, or form should we trust anything that they say. Figure it out for yourself. Don't even take a sliver of what they say as the truth.
Which has basically splintered us into where we're at now, and having the conversations we're having now, and the types of things we talk about on this show. Because again, right, far be it from us to have answers. We don't have any of that. But we do know that a bunch of the shit that you just said is true. Like the government is not looking out for us. The press is not looking out for us. The media, no, hell no. The other governments definitely not. They don't have our back. The billionaires, all they want is more. They don't give a damn about us. And so what are we? We're like the silent majority that has no power. Sadly enough,
we're an obstacle. We're an obstacle to them.
Yeah, it's scary, man. It's scary. And again, that's you again boiled it down. The reason why we do this show, and like usual, you're spot on, my man. Anything for him, Ash, before we wind this up and finish it up?
No, I mean that's a very valid point. It's like when you're trying to discern the truth, it's like if like we've all had bad relationships in the past. It's like when that person was lying to you or treating you horrible, whatever. Once you like every once in a while you're like, no, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we can work it out or whatever. But then in the future, you look back and you're like, man, why did I even bother?
Yeah,
just like that with the government.
Yeah.
What at what point do we cut her loose, right, and stop being in this abusive relationship, or at least entertaining it?
Yeah, and you had yourself to blame all along.
Mm-hmm. Good point. Thank you for calling in.
Okay. Look at the big picture, and then like the highest rung of what is going on, whatever big catastrophe or whatever you think is going on in the world, and then work from the top down instead of the bottom up on your theory of what's going on in the world. Look at the very top and then work yourself down, and you will find that it's a lot easier to put the puzzle together if you look at it that way.
Yeah. So in a world where we live in the upside down, it only makes sense to start with the upside down, to start from the top instead of the bottom.
People start off at chemtrails. They don't start off with corruption. They don't start off with money. They don't start off with things like that. They think of like the minute details instead of the big picture. If you look at the big picture, then you can work yourself down into the plausible details.
Yeah, I think more important.
Make picture.
Yeah, definitely. So more important, I think it's just critical to have like a populace, an active populace that thinks for themselves. I think that's the most important thing here. Yeah. And again, right, we talk about some whack shit. We talk about some aliens. We talk about interdimensional travel. We talk about time travel, for crying out loud. We talk about some crazy stuff on this show, but it's not necessarily literal, right? Like sometimes it is, and sometimes we can make allusions to that, and sometimes we can correlate this or parallel that. However, it's about people thinking. Okay, so how much do you think this is relevant and how much is not? And that's really what this is all about. So again, boil it down perfect. You're the best, per always, Larry. Appreciate that, my man. We're done. This show's over. This show's over. You want to say?
Me? Okay. All right, guys. Well, just take food for thought and try and expand your thought processes, because that's what they've taken away from us, because that's our most important weapon against disinformation. Learn how to think for yourself, unlearn what you've been taught, because more than likely it's a lie.
And there we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
Everything worked out
good.
guys, but it's looking dim.
Well, again, it's not, because we're able to have these conversations still, and they're not kicking in our door and taking us to the hospital, to the FEMA camps. So we're good. Larry, you're the best. Thanks for calling, my man. That's Larry from Oklahoma. Appreciate that. Fantastic points as always. Do call back all the time. We appreciate it. And there we go. We're at the end. We're at the end of this. See, look at that. Smart people is in this show. You guys are smart people. hopefully we're smart people. Hopefully we make good points. I have no idea what's going on here. I think the point is nobody knows what the hell's going on, and that's why we need to talk about it. We need to hear what other people are thinking. And again, like I said, we talk about crazy shit here because I think it's necessary. It's a little bit sometimes mental gymnastics, and we need to be able to make those decisions ourselves and decide if we're being lied to from a sinister psychological operation media, the Project Mockingbird, like I always like to say, in cahoots with the CIA. And trying to bring us all down, make us all stupid. So, yeah, I don't know. That's what it's all about. That's what the show's is. And appreciate you guys sticking with us. All this other good shit, et cetera, so on. Sorry for Project Serpo. We fucked it up, but hey, whatever. We always got next week. We'll punch again next week and see if we can get hit a home run. But anyway, if you guys are interested in it, check it out. There's tons there, literally hundreds of hours of stuff. Testimony, the guy wrote the book. Richard Doty's involved. Look at Linda Moulton Howe. Close Encounters, Roswell. Like, think about the basically mythology from the very beginning of ufology to now, and we're still talking about this as a possible fake psyop. This entire thing,
right?
So,
but don't be. I don't think we should beat ourselves up too much because it's tough. It's if we did a full show and it was really detailed and they did a good job, we could actually be doing a disservice to people by communicating that information in a way that would change people's minds one way or another, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, so we're coming in, we're kind of really skeptical, and we're just tipping our toes in, and just kind of like you guys should, if you're more interested, you can kind of dig in a little bit deeper. And like I said, if we did I've seen where really honest people, really good intentioned people get duped, right? And they believe this stuff. And then once that information becomes part of your reality, it just screws the whole thing up, right? So, I think we, at the very least, we did a good job of being skeptical and
screwing up.
We had some audio problems, some other things, but
whatever.
We'll keep getting better. I got new audio equipment, and we're we got the radios working tonight. Things are getting better, and I'm glad to be a part of the show, and it's good to hear from you guys again and have calls. And this was a crazy story, and we got to kind of cover it real quick and
there we go.
Learn a little bit about it.
You know what happens now? The outro music.
Yeah,
yeah, baby.
Yeah. So I just wanted to thank you guys for joining us on Trouble Mind Radio. I'm your co-host, Ash the Reptilian from Mars, and we appreciate you guys for tuning in. It's important to have the conversation, and that's what we're having. And we'll be here, and we'll be talking about stuff they don't normally want to talk about, or stuff you maybe can't talk about with friends. You can talk about it, and we have an open table. You're welcome to come join us.
There you go. That's what it's all about. That is what it's all about. You're listening to Trouble Minds Radio. Yep, we'll be back on Tuesday. What's up, Penny? I see you're not feeling well. Please feel better. Please feel better. Take care of yourself. All the vitamin C's and wash your hands and all those things, right? Do all the things. Take care of yourself because nobody else is going to take care of you. Do it. We'll pray for you. Get better. All that good stuff. That goes for everybody else that's sick too, or not, or might be. So all of you, you're the best. Thanks for sticking with us. We know it's a long show. We know we train wreck it sometimes, but hey, it's part of the journey. Sometimes it's more funny that way. And at least we're laughing. At least we're laughing. So anyway, you're listening to Trouble Minds Radio. Like I said, I'm your host, Michael Strange. Do all the things, like all the things, share all the things. Go to troubleminds.org, the official website. Leave the thumbs ups on YouTube. Whatever. Tell your friends. All that stuff. More importantly, come back. We'll see you on Tuesday. You guys are the best. 8 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern. We'll be back Tuesday night. You guys do your thing. Be well, get better if you're not well, and we'll see you soon. Thanks for listening. From our Troubled Minds to yours. Have a great night.
Bye, y'all.